What up? What up? Welcome to the live. My name is Brother Legend. As always, spreading peace and Africanism. Ashe, Ashe. What's going on? A little late today, but still here. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the live. Be sure to tap like. Be sure to tap like. We're going to bring some people up here once we get to 2K likes. The prompt is the same as last time. Maybe we can continue what we were talking about. But just because it's the same prompt don't mean it's the same discussion. You feel me? This discussion always takes a form of its own. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and tap like if you like sweet potato pie. You have 5 seconds to name a food that starts with the letter Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you thought yams, tap like. If you thought yams, you gotta tap like. If you said yogurt, you alright. But if you said yams, tap like. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, y'all? Honey Badger, what's good, sis? Much love to all my Pan-Africans, all the lovers of the Bantu, descendants of Africa, what's going on? Descendants of other continents, what's going on? I know y'all in here. Don't be shy. This is a conversation for everybody. Grand Rising, absolutely. When we get to 2K likes, I'm going to start bringing people up here so we can talk. We're going to talk. I want to know the answer to some of these questions, what y'all are thinking. This is a discussion, not a debate. It's about the whole world. We're talking about the whole world. The questions up there are just meant to spark conversation. I'm not going to limit the conversation to just America. We can talk about anything. If you've got over 1,000 likes or 1,000 followers or enough followers to join the live, feel free. The discussion is for everybody. The continent of Africa is not. You know what I'm saying? Palestine has been rocking with us since the 60s. I can't disagree with you there. I don't know about rocking with us, but they've been vocally supportive as much as they can. I've seen. Good.
How you doing, man?
What's going on, brother? How you?
Oh, I'm chilling, just enjoying the night off. You ask a bunch of interesting questions here. Yeah, I find it interesting that that a lot of brothers and
Oh, I'm
sisters.
sorry. I thought this was Casanova talking.
Nah,
no,
I'm like, you sound
nah.
different today, bro. Witness, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns?
I'm 34 years old. I'm black, and the pronouns are exactly what you would expect. But I find it interesting that that so many brothers and sisters, feel like the race of your spouse or your girlfriend, how pro black you are is dependent on how, on the race of your spouse or your mate. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I feel like I could have a girlfriend or a wife who's as pale as a sheet of paper, and that wouldn't have anything to do with
That's
how.
nasty.
Yeah,
That's
that would.
nasty.
Yeah.
A piece of paper, like a vampire.
Yeah,
You could do that. I can't do that.
that's
I
a
couldn't
figure
do
of
that one.
that's a figure of speech, man.
My
But
boy,
yeah, but
he a
Oh, okay.
mayonnaise monster.
that's a figure of speech. But
Mayonnaise monster. Okay.
you know, I'm like I was saying, I'm using that, kind of figured, metaphorically, but I could be saying that literally. I could have just a pale, a vampire looking girl, and that wouldn't have nothing to do with how pro black I am. You
Hey,
know?
wait. Let me tell you why it does here. I don't mind explaining it to you because it does.
Okay.
It definitely plays a role, right? So if we're talking about being pro-black, right? I think first we need to analyze what it is to be anti-black, right? Like all the things that are associated with our communities, the way our community's been stepped on, degraded, so forth and so on, right? So being pro-black is it's almost like an agreement, right? That I'm going to put the community and the advancement of the community above any personal goals that I have, right? So when we talk about your spouse and the person you lay down with, it plays an integral part, right? Because we know that when you get married, you don't just get married, right? Where it's just like, oh, like, it's just all fun and happiness. We understand it's like a contractual agreement. And then not only that, where you choose to live plays an important part in how much you give to the community, right? So that's just like one aspect of it in terms of building like a better like community structure, a more firm nuclear community. That's one aspect. And then also once we get into being like pro-black, you'll notice that like a lot of people outside of being black don't even understand the importance of it or even like the goal you're trying to attain, right? When you talk to people in other races, it's hard for them to even conceptualize and understand the struggle and the trauma that black people have been through. So when we talk about being pro-black, and if you are pro-black, it's like, when it gets to your partner, if they don't understand what you're fighting for, are y'all fighting for the same thing?
So a Caucasian couldn't understand a black man's struggle.
Their proximity to the black community does not give them access, right? Their proximity, it will grant them like acceptance with a couple people, but in terms of like fully understanding, no, they'll never be able to. And it's unfortunate. You can have
There
someone who sympathizes,
there have been
right?
Caucasians who have literally given their lives for the black struggle.
Oh no, I agree. I'm not saying there haven't been good people who've done the right thing, right? But that's what it boils
No,
down
they
to.
didn't. They didn't give their lives for our struggle. They gave
Right.
their lives for their own struggle.
And
John Brown didn't give his life for the black struggle.
wait,
Nah. Mm-mm.
and look,
He didn't give his life for our struggle.
wait,
How
wait.
so?
He,
Hey, my brother, wait. Don't let him pivot though, because look,
okay.
right. Because look, I can accept that there are white people, right, who are part of their community who do the right thing. I don't even want to even go down this tangent of arguing about their motives, but just because they did the right thing does not give them like access to like the pain that we endured. They're just simply doing the right thing. It's just
Doesn't
that
give.
simple. They're just doing the
I'm
right
sorry.
thing.
Give them access to the. I don't know what that means. Give
Give
them
them
access
access
to the
to
pain,
the trauma.
that we've
Absolutely.
endured.
They just because they're an advocate does not mean they understand the pain, right? Just because your doctor treats you, that doesn't mean they understand the level of pain you're in. Just because they are able to treat you and help you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about them accept me understanding. They'll never be able to understand the pain because it's like this inherent pain that's passed through generations. How can they understand that
The
just by observation?
Okay, the inherent pain. Um, so people who are of a common race, they have see what's interesting to me is that a lot of brothers and sisters will tell you, my thing is this: black people are not a monolith, right? We
Absolutely.
don't we don't all think the same. We don't all feel the same. We don't look at all the issues the same. And it kind of bothers me that a lot of black people, if I tell them how I feel about certain issues, because I've looked at issues myself and analyzed them, and I've come to a unique understanding that belongs to myself. a lot of brothers will say, well, you're not looking at the issue the way you're supposed to be looking at it.
True.
As if all black people are supposed to be looking at everything in the same way. That's one thing that bothers me.
No, it's not.
And
No,
so,
not everything. You're making now. I don't like it when we're having these
hold on,
nuanced, very
let me
nuanced
finish what I'm
discussions,
saying.
and we start using broad, extreme terms like everyone, everything, not all people.
I didn't
like
say.
like come
Wait,
on, you don't gotta go
hold
that
on,
far.
hold on. Yeah, wait. Let him
When
finish.
did I make a generalization about anyone?
No, you did, and I could
What
tell
did I say?
you
What did I
wrong
say?
because it sounds like someone was correcting you on something that you said, did, or had an idea about, right? And the perspective that you were given was one from like probably just from what you're saying, right? It sounds like you were attacking it with almost like a theoretical like sense to it. You were sitting on the outside in, and you weren't really viewing it through the lens of reality. So let's say I have a friend, right, who's also black. And we're talking about racism, and he turns to me and he says, "Oh yeah, everyone can be racist, right?" Myself being well like read, like someone who cares about the issue, I will definitely tell him, "Whoa, like the perspective that you're taking on this discussion is not a right one, right? We understand that, like how the host said, these things are very nuanced, very, very nuanced. And if you don't understand it completely, it will confuse the fuck out of you, right? And it'll lead you down a path that you didn't even realize you want to go down. Indoctrination is real, right? We wonder why there's so much like self-hate, right? We wonder why there's so many black people who speak negatively about black people, and it's but that very same reason their perspective on it is a bit skewed and a bit like polluted. So
Okay.
Yeah,
if
I
someone
feel like a lot of black people, unfortunately, have not done their work to study what racism is, how it operates, or why it exists. We just go based off of our anecdotes and how we've been mistreated, rather, and then make broad generalizations about it. We do have an inherent like understanding of it because we deal with it so much, but a lot of us haven't really done the social science work to
Right.
study it to know.
Did I make a broad generalization a minute ago?
a bit,
When you start saying not all in a conversation, you've already made this an extreme, like you're taking an extreme stance in a nuanced topic.
Okay, what did
We're
I
talking
say?
about nuance. So nothing
right.
is not all, nothing is everyone, nothing like don't start doing all the, never and always extreme wording.
Okay. All right. So
But when we're
what I
talking
was
about pro-blackness, right? Prioritizing your actions and values with what's in the best interest of building the black community. There's only one way to drink water. Can you drink water through your asshole? No. You got to drink water through your mouth.
okay.
That being the case, there's one way to build a community. Every other community has done it, and we as Africans,
So
our ancestors have done it multiple times.
You're comparing
There's only
drinking.
one way to do that.
So your analogy is you're comparing drinking water to building a community. I don't think that analogy works.
No, hold on, because he's being facetious again.
No.
Listen to me clearly, witness. Use your brain, all right, and try to listen real hard. You're a grown man. I remember you said you're 30 something. So listen again. There's only one way to get to the solution of putting water in your stomach. You understand? I'm not talking about the actual act of drinking water. Use a little bit more thinking power than that. Getting water to your stomach requires you to drink it down your mouth. Building a community requires a community of people coming together and building within that community. Building outside of that community is not building the community. You cannot be pro-black if you are thinking outside of the community. Now, go ahead and continue to argue with me about how you can drink water through your asshole.
Okay, well, the point I was making there was, usually when you make an analogy, you're comparing, you're making an apples to apples.
Don't critique the analogy. Stay on topic.
You were attempting to make a point.
Stay on topic.
And
there's only one way to build a community. Tell me a community that has built itself up by going to other communities and working with them.
Well, why don't you tell me a?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
See, he keeps moving around everything. He's trying to be right or something.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you. well, you look at the so-called black community in America. That every community is built through collaboration and communication and
So witness,
But they bring it back home.
Wait, witness.
And
Name
they
one.
work with themselves.
Wait.
Every community is built through collaboration, and you're not talking about a people. You're talking about communities in a societal sense. And so, in that sense, we're not talking about race anymore. We're talking about geopolitics. That's a completely different topic. We're talking about a community. Did Jewish people make their community by marrying Chinese and Muslim people? Or did they marry Jewish people to make their community? Did white people become a white race by working with every other race to make their own race? No, they subjugated every other race, and that's different. That's when we talk about peacefully coexisting. That is something much different. But when they came to building their community, they don't build with us. That's part of the problem with racism. They don't have us in their communities, in their institutions, or give a damn about us at all. So why is it that when we talk about building our community, we're the only community that's expected, for some reason, to lack the selfishness necessary for survival, so that we have to think about how everyone else is going to be affected when we're trying to build our community? That makes no sense. Everyone cannot think like you, because we've already thought like you in the past. Europeans were welcomed into Africa. Arabs were welcomed into Africa. Asian people were welcomed into Africa. We've done that before. It has not worked. Now it's finally time for us to look at what we've done wrong for so long, and to finally say, hey, y'all, let's build within our community. No shade to any other community. We don't got to tear any other community down to build ours up. Pro-black does not mean anti-white. We don't care about what anybody else got going on. But the highest goal of pro-blackness is not anti-racism. We're not just all working to end racism. We have goals and aspirations beyond racism. So working with your pale paper primate wife, you want to do that, you go ahead. But that's not building in our community.
Okay.
That's something else.
So there's one way to build a community, and that's from within the community. So tell me what that looks like.
What? Like, wait. Okay.
Hold on, I'm not here to educate you.
Right.
The Organization of Afro-American Unity speech by Malcolm X.
See, because I think I believe
Amos Wilson's
my thing
The
is
Blueprint for Black Power.
Okay, my thing is this: when you say that there's one way to build a community, and that's from within the community, that's a very vague thing, and I'm it's very.
No, it's not. It's only vague because you're trying to figure out how to squeeze Becky into the cookout. I understand that you're a bunny man. I get it.
Do I get to speak? Okay. So you say there's one way to build a community. And one issue that I have with a statement like that is it's kind of abstract, and people can make of it what they want.
You haven't read shit, and it's obvious, and it's annoying to have to teach a grown-ass man that black people need to come together to build a community.
Bro, you're
Why
being
does he think that he can bring
you're being
his
rude.
thin-lipped wife into the cookout when we're trying to work and repair our own communities? Why is he trying to do this? Does he really believe that they give a damn about him? Does he really think proximity to the oppressor will give him some sort of freedom? I really don't know.
I noticed that.
Why are you up here trying to do this?
When people realize that they've got something common,
you have already shown us that you are intentionally obtuse. You're not going to dilute my conversation. You're not answering any of my questions, and you're finding a way to dodge the simplest things that I'm talking about. Right. So I don't think you're really up here to have a discussion. I think you're up here to justify Wabbit season.
You can't tell me what you mean.
Hey, man.
You can't tell me what you mean.
If you want to go and get you some bunnies, go on the Bunny Live. This is not the Bunny Live.
Right. Hey, hold on real quick. The thing is this, right? You asking how does it look and what is it?
You finish talking, then the other dude starts talking. I can't say nothing, right?
That's how it works. It's my live. If I want to talk, I'm going to talk.
right? It's his platform, right? He can choose who talks and who doesn't talk. It's his life. If you don't like it, bro, you can leave, right? And then not only that, why would we engage in a genuine discussion with you when every time, right, we get to a point, you pivot and you change the whole like narrative? Like, right, and then you asking these facetious ass questions. You're asking, oh, what does it look like to build up the community from the inside? It is a verbal communication and commitment amongst the entire community to build it. It's that simple. Like, I
That's
don't,
simple.
right, I don't know why you're sitting here trying to like make these like obtuse ass points, trying to say, oh, you have to coexist to build up their. No,
How
no.
about this? How about this? Witness, go to one of the Frosted Females lives when they're talking about feminism and what they got going on, and go tell them, hey, I want to build in your community. I want to work with y'all, and I want to and see how it works out for you. Go into some of the Make America Great Again lives and tell them that you want to build with the community and that they need to build with you in order to build Make America Great Again. Tell them if you want to build the Republican Party, you need to build with me. You can't be great if you're not building with me. Go tell them that and let me know how you do over there, Witness. Use that same logic and come on back. We'll wait. It's really weird behavior. I don't know. What's going on, Christina?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Give us
All
your
right.
age, race, and pronouns, please.
Age 37, race African American, pronouns don't have any because I'm a woman. But
All right.
my whole thing on it is I live in a predominantly white community. And what the guy was just saying prior to him jumping off was very offensive because I shouldn't have to acclimate myself in order to feel included. I don't teach my children that. I don't teach my cousins or anybody who comes to visit me that. We should be able to be ourselves wherever we are at any moment in time.
Yeah.
So, as Black people, why do we have to raise our voices higher and make ourselves different? Thank you. I'm Christina, and I'm here to serve you. Why do I have
Mm-hmm.
to do that when I'm in a white community? I have to constantly redirect my children to, you're not like your white friends. You're not like
Mm-hmm.
this. You're not like
Mm-hmm.
that. You're a Black man in America. You have to learn differently. And as he's
Mm-hmm.
getting older, he's like, Mom, why am I not in the same class as my friends, my white friends? And I said, because I hold you to a different standard. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be better than your counterparts. That's what America has taught us, is
Right.
that we have to be better than.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Where do you think Mom got it from? Mom got her master's degree. Daddy got his bachelor's degree. We both we own a business. How do you think we did that? By doing what they said we couldn't do. So now you and your white friends are being separated because I'm on you about your homework.
Hmm.
How is it
Well.
that we as Black women, men, have to teach our children to be different than their white counterparts? And then here comes a white person telling us, oh, we don't have to be different. You can be yourself. America is okay. America is perfectly fine, when we know that America's not. Freedom
Mm-hmm.
isn't free here in America. Black people pay for it every day of the week. Let's be for real. I
That's
live in
facts.
Chicago, Illinois. We pay for it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So then what is our cost? How am I teaching my children? White people don't have to teach their children how to walk down the street, how to talk differently. I teach
Hmm.
my kids how to talk differently in front of their teachers than they do at home.
Hmm.
I'm a loose parent, okay? My kids cuss when they come home. They be like, this GD teacher, this bitch, she da 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 da. But when they're at school, they're, hi, yeah, thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. And they're like, Mommy, I was good today. Why do I have to remind my child to be good at school and not curse or not be themselves or not use their lower tone of voice? That's ridiculous. My child should be able to be themselves wherever they come from or wherever they are. But that's not the case. And that's all I have to say is that it's not we want to be separate from the white community or from any other community. No, we're always exempt. We're not wanting to be this way, but we have been forced to be this way. We're forced to use a professional tone whenever we're out in public. Thank you. Oh my God, I appreciate that. But when we're at home, we choose a different tone. This is different from what white people are chose. They're chose wherever we are, no matter if we're at home or we're in the community, we can speak and act the way we want to. My husband, he always like, Christina, if you talk to me like you talk to your clients, oh, we have a smooth day. We'll have a smooth career of life. But no, I'm myself at home, but when I'm at work, I'm Christina. How are you? Yes, I'll do that for you. Okay, thank you. Why do we have to do that? White people don't have to do that.
It's because people from Africa, melanated people, have a deeper tone to our voice.
Facts.
We naturally do. Even in a lot of African or just black music, you can hear it how we have a deeper tone. Like to us, to me especially, a sister with a deep voice is sexy. Like you know what I'm saying? Like what's that girl, Coco Jones? I love her. You know what I'm saying? Who's that other girl that sings Superpower? Was it Hours and Hours? You know that song? Like but nah, it's a thing, you know. Listen to Pop Smoke, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not going to be a European Pop Smoke. Like, we have a deeper tone to our voice. There's a reason why our gospel choir sounds different. Like, we project our voices differently. So we have to mask that when we're in a white space. So that's why we have to speak with a higher tone because their voices are a little bit higher pitched than ours, and well, not higher pitch. It's a higher tone. They don't have the same tone as us. I worked in music for a long time, and I can get into that another time. But we have a high tone and a low tone. Like
We do that to make them feel
we have
comfortable.
both of them, and we need to take out the deeper tone. Yeah. So
that's West African, not East African. East African women have a beautiful feminine voice. Nigerian women, which are mostly where Black American women are from, they have a deep voice. Me personally, I don't find that attractive. I think East African women have a beautiful, nice, feminine voice.
Right.
and he's
We will
gone.
not
Get this
stand for
clown
that.
out of here. I'm sorry. He had to go. We don't disrespect black women. Shout out to all the sisters with the beautiful, feminine, deep voice. We love y'all. We love y'all. Shout out to all the sisters with the deep voice. I think it's sexy as hell, and a lot of brothers will agree. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what that was about.
That was just hella like problematic. Like what came upon him to say, oh, the East African women have beautiful voices and the West African women where Black Americans come from. Like, what is wrong with you, bro?
And I know East African women with deep voices too, so I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Like, what the fuck is he talking about? He don't know nothing, bro.
I don't know. That was weird. And then to make it feminine and masculine, what we just said, how sisters got deep voices. Like, I don't know. That was very un-African of him. That was real weird. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for sharing that, Sister Christina. I'm gonna go to the next person. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right. One time, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
Yeah, I am 29. I am Black and Japanese, and I'm he, him.
Japanese is a nationality. Are you Black?
I am Black.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, answer the questions for us. The floor is yours.
So, the question white and black and white cultures peacefully coexist? The answer is no. The reason that I say this is the model minority myth and the perpetual foreigner myths coincide to underscore why the African diasporic individual has to undergo forced assimilation. We can look at the restructuring of slavery into the prison industrial complex and see that it's facilitated the infantization of the African American male, the continual fragmentation of the global majority by forcing us to play at games of ideals. And it's sort of a foregone conclusion that not all people are made equal. With greater access to resources, inevitably comes an increased perceived intelligence, a less objectionable presence, because of the shedding of the initial illusion of self through forced indoctrination of puritanical ideals meant to uphold systemic oppression.
Well spoken, well said. That's well said. That's a delicate tightrope you're walking of words, and you're doing amazing. That was very well put. Thank you.
Hey,
Appreciate
so
you.
I
Keep
just want
cooking,
to
bro.
say,
Nah, let him cook. Hold on, let him cook. He cooking with hot grease. Go ahead, brother.
So, in order for there to be peace, I feel as if, and I have to put heavy quotes around that, it would look more like armistice, where both sides have mutually assured destruction, leveraged or predicated on equal value. So, if we were to hyperbolize the situation, we would say all of the African Americans return to Africa. And we say, okay, so guys, you've already laid the framework, you've done a great job. Why don't we stop using the US currency and exclusively use African currencies in order to secure trade and other things? Now we've effectively privatized a resource that was being predated on and has been used to prop up and leverage external communities for decades. That's an equalization of resources that is, one, unexpected, and two, forces a status quo, because countries like France continue to print out African currencies.
facts.
So removing their ability to leverage and pillage while imposing sanctions and other things would allow a community equalization. Unfortunately, the reason that this is heavily hyperbolized is because we've seen what happens when we try to start small enclaves and how the over-policing of these places leads to what we'll call a rampant crimes. Again, heavy quotes. If you follow somebody for 1,000 miles, they're going to get a ticket.
Yeah.
So
True.
that's my belief. And while peaceful isn't possible because there's no respect. If there was a reciprocal amount of respect, great. But they've been saying for a very long time, and I use they in the broad sense, that the Civil War isn't over. It's just halftime. They've been stockpiling arms, weaponry, building bunkers, and all of that. But now we see that they're passing it through legislation. Legislation that's sort of a double-edged sword, being that their birth rates have fallen consistently. That's why we've been able to reframe the quotes minority and claim it as what we are, the global majority. And that puts them in this position of, oh, crap. We're not as novel as we believed ourselves to be. We're not as powerful as the system that we had set up. And, oh, man, they're actually working together again. So all of that intersectionality between, Africa, don't work with China because China's just trying to take what you guys have. Keep in mind they've been doing it for decades.
Hey, one time. My bad. Where are you from? Where are you from?
Oh, I was born in California.
Okay.
Yeah. So what they did, and they actually did this last year, where they had said, you guys don't trust them at all. So China said, okay, what we're going to do is wipe away the debt. So Africa started looking at America like, okay, China just did this. Are you guys going to do that? And they're like,
No.
no, fuck that. Just don't trust those guys. Don't trust them. They did that nice thing, but there's something about them.
Yeah.
So yeah, not to ramble too much and go on, but that is why I believe peaceful coexistence has to be predicated on loss.
Okay.
It's
I hear
definitely an
you.
interesting
And you
perspective. I
you
can't
really
lie.
answered the question. I mean, the way I looked at it was black and white and race as a construct in general would have to go away before those, that can happen. Or really, honestly, white culture would have to go away because white culture is nothing but, stealing shit and stealing people. So, yeah, but that is a different way of looking at it. No, you're right. Negative peace, right? Dr. King talks about that. So yeah, I hear you. Thanks for
Can I
sharing
say
that, brother.
something real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have a niece who is Japanese and black, and we just had them over for just a meet and greet because we haven't seen them in a while. And when she was introduced to all of her black family, and her mom was introduced to the black family, it was like an eye-opening experience because she was never treated as an equal when she went to see her Japanese family. And
Yeah, that
so
makes sense.
and when he said that, it was like an eye opener as to why they were so excited to be here and be accepted. Because we have no problem with accepting anyone into our family, whether they're
Right.
biracial, whether they're black. Both mom and dad are black. Mom is white. Mom is Japanese. Mom is this. And then mom didn't speak complete English, and she still was like, thank you so much. I appreciate it, but my cousin was able to interpret for her. And she was just like, oh my God, this was a great experience being here in Chicago. You guys paid for us to do all this stuff. And thank you so much. My kids enjoyed it. And her children were just like, thank you. We're so much, we learned so much. We got exposure to so much. And it was awesome. And so when he said that, it was just like, that's what happened to me and my family and to their family this past weekend. And that's the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the thing about us. We accept everybody. We accepted everybody into Africa. Our ancestors did it. We don't come from a war culture, so we're more willing to see the humanity in everyone else, to our
Yeah.
own detriment sometimes, and
No,
that's
I do
where I
agree
think
with you there.
sometimes, like I
Which
said
is
before,
true.
we lack
And
the
I
selfishness necessary for survival
correct.
because it's like we're playing a basketball game that we didn't choose to be in. We didn't want to play the basketball game, but we just keep inviting people to come dunk on us. Like, hey, come
And I
score over my head. Here, I'll
say,
pass you the
so
ball, and you can dunk on me, and
Our
just whatever
compassion is
you want
our
to do,
downfall.
guys. I mean, it's not really a competition. It's not real. It's a social construct. What's a basketball game? It's all a social construct. And it's like, yo, we've been losing for. If you really want to take it to the beginning, Chancellor Williams, the destruction of black civilization, we've been losing for 6,500 years. Are we still going to keep letting people just invite them to come dunk on us? Or are we one day going to start acting like a team and playing for the home team? It don't mean we have to hurt anybody else, but it means we got to put ourselves first.
We have to protect ourselves, and
You
compassion
feel
is
me?
our downfall.
can I say something,
Well, can I see
please?
something if that's fine?
Hold
Because
on.
I just
We
joined the
go in
live and I've
order.
been here for about
There's
10
one
minutes
more
now.
person above you. Courtney, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns?
Age pronoun. Age old. No, I'm 41.
That's not old.
Race. I'm doing best.
That's old in European years. That ain't old in our years.
Not my kid. One of my kids hurt my feelings this morning. Don't worry about it.
Don't listen to them.
He's black and native. And what was the other thing? Oh, the
Are you
pronouns.
black or are you native? Which one is it?
Do you want me to pick?
You gotta pick. I'm sorry, but
Mm,
anything plus black equals black. I don't know what construct or race you adhere to, unless you're from a Spanish country.
I'm well. No, I'll. Uh,
And if you mean Afro-Indigenous, then Afro-Indigenous would be your culture, so that's an
no,
ethnicity. But
it's
I'm talking about your
no.
race.
I'll go with black. That's
All
okay.
right.
Because I was whatever. And then my pronouns are I'm broke. So go ahead. It was a
Okay.
joke. No, I'm she, her, she, they. I don't care. What I was gonna say is that for the most part, I just want to like say I totally agree with you and what your mindset is. Um, I think the thing about it is that and my phone's dying.
She might have got a call or something. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, should I talk if that's fine?
She got into a what?
I don't know what happened. Can I talk if that's all right with you?
Uh, give us your age, race, and pronouns.
19, I'm white, but I consider myself half Zimbabwean.
Oh man, I hate it when y'all come on my live and start interrupting people. Why do y'all do that?
Did I interrupt someone?
Yeah, you did a few times. I had to keep
I
telling
thought
you
you
to
were asking
stop.
me for my thingies. Sorry.
All right. So, are your pronouns he, him?
I'm a man, yeah. He, him.
All right, man. Y'all are the only ones that do that. But go ahead.
Fair enough. So yeah, like I said, you know how you said, can black people be prejudiced towards white people? I think they can. And I think black and white cultures can coexist as well. Because, I go to Zimbabwe quite a lot.
I don't got time for him today. I'm sorry. Not today. He just came up on demon time. Like, I'm good. Hey man, it's gonna be a short show tonight, so I really don't got time to sit here and dilute the mayonnaise and try to show him where he's wrong, and then him. You already know he ain't gonna admit it. You know what I'm saying? We good. Seth, what's going on?
What's up, man? I'm chilling. How are you?
Could I have your age, race, and pronouns, please?
28, Mexican Jewish, and him.
Mexican is not a race, and Jewish is Jewish kind of. It depends on if you believe what Hitler believes, but
Let me
it's
explain.
really an ethno-religion. So
The
what is
Supreme
your
Court
race?
recognizes that Jewish is both a religion and a race, and when I say Mexican, that is my father's
it
nationality.
recognizes that Jewish people are white. To be honest.
No, you can
Yeah,
look
it
that up.
does. Yeah,
Dude, I'm Jewish.
there's no Jewish
Like,
checkbox on the census.
yes, the
It's
Supreme Court
white.
recognizes as Judaism as both a religion and a race.
No,
We
that's
weren't
only
white in Germany.
No, that it recognizes
When
them
my
as a
family was
minority,
getting
not a
annihilated,
race.
we weren't white. What's
What?
that?
A minority is not the
like,
same thing as a race. It's an ethno-religious
correct.
group. And so within that ethno-religious group, there are black people, there are white people, there are Asian people, there are all kinds of Jewish people. So it's not a race. Could you please stop playing with me today?
Let me talk, dude. You literally
Answer the question.
Yes,
You're a
I'm
grown
trying
man,
to.
right? Answer the question. All right, you going, man. They got 5 Panther
I'm
paws.
trying to, bro.
Hey, man, I'm getting the geniuses up here today. Shout out to me, myself, and I. Come on now. Anytime, so if I ask you your name, if I ask you your age, race, and pronouns, and you use the word "and," just know you fucked up. If I ask you your race and you use the word "and," you already fucked up on my live. You are one race. You are not a mixture of all these things. Race is a social construct, and in that social construct, there is no nuance for this and that. I'm not saying you should internalize it and say, oh, I'm the only representative of one culture. Like, no, you got many different cultures. But in this oppressive construct, you are one thing. So let's talk about that. But we're talking about race. Let's be real. Okay. Tori, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns?
It's 26, Asian, and she.
Okay, thank you. And go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right. So, first question, I think no, you can't be. But the only thing I wanted to kind of like see what you thought is, so like I am married to a black man. Like we did get married like young, so we weren't like, he obviously made his choice at a young age, but like now that we're married, like moving forward in life, like do you think he can't be pro-black because he made his choice kind of thing? Like,
yeah,
even like, you know, we do like, he said to me like, because I know there's like interracial relationships where, you know, the black man is not able to have like an understanding spouse or, you know, have these kind of conversations or whatever. But like,
let's say, what part of Asia do your ancestors come from? What country?
Yemen.
All right, so let's say that there's a village that's been colonized by Yemen people, right? And the indigenous black people in Africa want their village back. And so that calls for removing all colonizers. You know, it takes some hands might get dirty, but it's for a noble cause for our people to reclaim that has been stolen from us. How do you think your husband would react in that scenario? Do you think he'd come fight for us, or would he try to call for peace?
I'm so sorry. My thing was cutting out. Like, do you mind just repeating that? I'm so sorry.
So let's say that the what do you call people from Yemen? Yemenites?
Yeah.
Yemeni?
Yeah.
Yemen.
Yemena? All right. So let's say the Yemena people come and they have colonized a select part of Africa that the African indigenous people from that land now want back. The black people that lived there first want it back.
Right.
And that's a noble cause for our people, but it would require getting some hands dirty. What do you think your husband would do in that scenario? Do you think he would fight for our people, or do you think he would call for peace?
Well, based on my husband and I like knowing him and his personality, like I think that he would fight for his people.
All right, so he would divorce you and send you back.
Obviously, I mean, if that had to be the option.
I mean, that's the only pro-black option, would be not to be with you. Because if you're living there on that land that was colonized, would he fight for his people, meaning you have to go too? Mm-hmm. Maybe he can keep the kids. Maybe. Yeah, I think he can keep the kids. We'll keep the kids are cool. You got to go, though.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
So it's like being pro-black means you're helping us create a safe space for us to think, to prioritize ourselves in the creation of other communities, of other nations, by other races. They have not given a damn how building their community affected black people. They didn't give a damn on the continent, and they didn't give a damn when they took us from our continent to create other countries throughout the world. They didn't give a damn. No one gave a damn, even those that weren't here when my ancestors built America. People didn't give a damn when they came to Ellis Island from Europe. And, you know, after, different wars that went on, and America said, hey, come on over here. This is the land of opportunity. No one has given a damn when they built on top of our struggle. But now, when we're talking about building, we have to find a way to be so inclusive and sensitive to how everyone else is going to feel. Everyone cannot think like that. Some of us that do, I salute them in their fight for anti-racism. That's a good idea. Go ahead and be an anti-racist with your non-black wife. You two have a common enemy. Go ahead and work together on dismantling racism. But don't come around us when we're trying to build our safe space to be just unapologetically black and bring your, non-black other with you.
Can I actually ask you a question?
Me or him? Or
the host, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because Yemeni are actually considered overwhelmingly Afro-Arabian. The Muhammadin are actually a huge part of why Somalians have similar genetics, and Eritreans as well, because of their proximity being so close that you can literally get in a boat and float across. I'm just curious, with that sort of cultural proximity, whether or not you believe an allyship could take place.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm sorry, but we struggle enough with Somalians and Ethiopians, and they're struggling to identify as part of our group because of their proximity to Arab people, and it's all pretty toxic. To be honest, Somali and Ethiopians are like the Dominicans of Africa. So they struggle enough when we talk about black issues. They're like, I'm no black. Like, and it's just like, y'all are gone. Like, it's too difficult. So it's just probably not. No, it's not.
The whole
work.
point of what you were saying though is like Yemen has a lot of Arabic population, even if they do have some that look like Eritreans or Somalians or whatever. They do have a large Arabic population. And if they had rules and legislation that they were trying to oppress the darker black community, that when push come to shove, you got to make a decision on who you siding with. And even with what's going on in like Ukraine and stuff, when the immigrants that are up there were trying to flee and everybody getting on trains, they were saying, okay, no black people allowed. When push come to shove, when non-black people are in a position like that, they said, okay, yeah, you're trying to escape the country and get on this train. And now they're saying, no black people allowed. You're going to say, oh, no, not my friend. Or you're going to just duck your head and get on board and save yourself. Or when we had the Montgomery brawl last month or whatever, and they attacking everybody that's not black because they just thinking it's a color thing. Would your husband be trying to hit the people that hit you on accident, or would he prioritize the black issues and focus on that task?
And so it doesn't mean that your husband is anti for his community. You know what I'm saying? Anti-black. I'm trying not to say black too much, but it doesn't mean that he's against us. It just means he ain't gonna be with us all the way. So,
he got a second think. He's compromised.
Yeah. So right, to us, he's compromised.
I will say though, like I said, since we obviously I love my husband, right? Like we are, like it is what it is now, right? But I do 100% understand like why it is so important, for.
Yeah, right. Hey, Tori, and then just to add on, do you think you're pro-black?
Do I think I'm pro-black? I mean, I watch your lives all the time, so like based on what the host described, like how he explains it, I don't think is maybe not possible for, I could be I'm anti-racist 100%, but like,
there you go.
Yeah, by definition.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, because if you don't prioritize black advancement, and including over your own, if you're not black, then you're not pro-black.
Right.
If you're saying, oh, at my expense, but that's where I got to draw the line. You guys got to stop. I can't give you property and wealth.
And that's why it's like nuance, right? Because I think honestly, right, and I don't think the host gonna like this, but I think there is like a unicorn, right? Like in theory, I think other people of other races can be pro-black.
All right, tell me how.
No. Right? Wait. I think in reality it won't happen, right? And this is
All
why,
right,
like,
but what would they have to do in order to be pro-black? Please tell me.
no, right? They would have to have like the
Self-destructive nature to
nah.
sabotage their own communities and themselves.
Can, can I also just point out that you
Nah.
just use can I just point out that you just used the figment of our imagination, which is the unicorn, to try to describe something that actually exists by describing something that does not
No,
exist.
wait, hear me out. Let me say right, hold on.
Like
Look, 'cause
unicorns
look.
don't exist, but you try to use that to say that they could exist, and we know categorically
Right.
they don't.
Nah, look, hear me out. Hear me out. All I'm saying is, right, I don't think it's like realistic for someone of another like race, creed, or whatnot to have the best interest of another community above their own community, right? I don't think that's like realistic for like another person to have. And I feel like that's what plays into them not being able to be pro-black. There's no way you'll be able to prioritize like our community above your own when you hold your community so near and dear to your heart. That's what you grew up with. That's what you side with. That's what you like, so forth and so on. But like, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Like,
It's like
But
you
we
would
know.
say, I'm going to help you build. I don't like the word utopia because it's Greek or Roman. It's Roman, but let's say Wakanda, right? I'm gonna help you. Even that, right, comes from you from a white
Even that's
entertainment.
condo. Woo.
I'll say Wakanda for now, but
Just say
I'm gonna come up
Atlanta.
with a better term.
Atlanta,
But
Georgia. Atlanta,
what
Georgia.
was it?
Nah,
Atlanta,
because
it's
Georgia.
definitely
that's
not
some
Atlanta.
But
we in
look, I'm
behind the
gonna help you
curtain
build
shit.
Wakanda, and then I won't be invited into it. I know I can't help you, but I'm gonna dedicate my life to building something for you that I
Hmm.
cannot participate in. John Brown did not do that. Y'all need to stop raising up John Brown like he's your savior. Y'all need to stop that. John Brown was an anti-racist. He was just a white T man with a conscience. Some of y'all
The
have
bare
realized
minimum.
that the bar is set so low for them that when they just do the human thing, that it's,
This is fucked up.
you know what I'm saying? Like, all he did is realize this is messed up and I got to do something about it because this should not be happening. And he's
It-
just
it-
one of the few that
it's
had the balls to do something.
Brother Legend. It's literally the reason why we have so many white savior movies, because it's like, look at this white person. They helped out a black student. Look at
Did you
them.
hear
Right.
Let's make a
about
movie about
Blindside
them. They're good white
with
people.
what's her name? Sandra Bullock, Blindside, where the white family took in the big black football player,
The
and they made a movie
Toulouse.
about it.
Oh, Blindside?
Yeah. So the real life person says that family exploited him and cut him out of the contracts and the deals and made a whole bunch of money and a whole bunch of stuff, and he can't read and whatever.
Well, of course.
But that's the real
Yeah,
story
so
behind it, not
Well,
no
of course.
happy family that just didn't help out.
Watchy people have never voluntarily gave up resources to a non-white person. That's crazy. Well, even if you are the conduit to which I get the resources from, like, look, like in that movie Blindside, like the football player is literally the proverbial Africa, right? You're the
Hmm.
conduit through which I get all the resources, but you don't get to really benefit from them. Now you get concessions. I'll take you to a nice dinner every once in a while, but
Hmm.
ultimately I get to divvy out what
Look at this
resources
dinner
you
you
get,
paid
even though
for.
you ordered, even though you made them.
Look at this dinner you paid for.
yeah.
Like
What's
Clive
going on,
Davis made all
brother? I
that
just
money,
jumped
didn't
in.
sing
I'm
a
my
note.
bad.
Clive Davis made all that money, didn't sing a note. The owner of OnlyFans made $1.3 million a day last year. Didn't shake no ass. Like,
That's capitalism for you, buddy. You can
but
listen to
dang,
Stokely
you
Carmichael, and he
didn't.
tells you about capitalism. Capitalism, the fruits of the labor are enjoyed by the people who do no labor.
But meanwhile,
Crazy.
they want to talk about people being lazy and getting something for nothing, and they want to focus on the poor people getting something for nothing instead of the rich people getting something for nothing, or these stock owners. And if you invest enough money into a stock, you can get more salary than the workers that's in there every day, sweating and bleeding, back breaking
Mm-hmm.
work, and you getting $100,000 on your dividends.
Of course, that's how Western capitalism works, right? They build a fiat resource on top of real resources and give it more value than the actual resources that fund it. So the work doesn't
Right.
get the value, the actual gold doesn't get the value, the paper on top of it does, because they don't have resources. What's going on? I do want to answer some of the questions. I mean, some of these
Go
questions,
ahead, brother.
you already know my answer to a lot of these questions, bro. Can you be pro-black with a non-black spouse? No, you cannot. FYI, just for those listening, I kind of come on the panel a lot. I am quote unquote biracial. I'm a black man who's biracial by origin, right? And we
All right.
specify that because it dictates who my parents are, not who I am. I'm a black man.
Oh yeah.
Can black and white cultures peacefully coexist? Hell no. The only way we would peacefully coexist is to wipe out everybody and everyone forget that race is a social construct. But it's too embedded. Everyone alive on Earth has known it to exist since they've been alive. So nope. Should black people care about Israel and Palestine? Now this is a tricky one. Yes, when we say black people, we're talking about diaspora, right? Or we're just
I'm
focusing
always
on
talking about the diaspora.
Okay,
Yeah.
I knew that. I just wanted the clarity. Absolutely. For a lot of historical reasons, one, YT people carving out the Middle East as if it's something separate from the motherland has always been a crazy idea to me. This way that they kind of carve it out so they can say it's separate, so they can use it as a resource sycophant is crazy. Also, it just helps. The thing about our liberation is that the liberation for us looks the same for people of color around the globe. And what I'm seeing right now, this pro-Israel is just it's a hold up of white supremacy. It's a hold up of siphoning off resources from a land and from America. It's a money laundering scheme. It's all of this other stuff. And what we're seeing happen to our Palestinian brothers is no different than the scramble for Africa, right? You have all these people living in this land, and then people come and say they lay claim to it. I just think, all of our freedom fighters in the history of Pan-Africanism have always talked about oppressive regimes around the world. And until we can get rid of all of those, we're always in threat, especially with us being on the bottom of the racial totem pole of global white supremacy. So as long as that type of oppression exists anywhere, we're always threatened. Yeah, and so free Palestine. Give them back their shit and take them by all means necessary. I feel bad that individual people are getting hurt, but to get an omelet, sometimes you got to crack some eggs. You can't oppress people for 70 years.
I don't.
Look, you can't oppress them.
But I want to. I don't want to.
No, when I
don't though.
No, I
Well,
think
you don't crack eggs. What do you mean?
Brother Legend, you know me. I like to explain. So
Yeah,
there's a humanitarian side of me, right, that says in absence of all of these stupid ass structures that have been created, we should care about living individuals, right?
That's what Jesus said.
But
I hear you.
but
Who is this you talk of?
But at the same time, here's the reality of it, right? You can't bully someone for 70 years and then when they fight back, dictate how they fight back. No,
Right.
I'm taking your children, your mama, your grandmama, whoever's in the way, because they sat by and enjoyed the privileges of being safe under their regime for all those years. So you're just as guilty to me. You didn't have to be a slave owner. Yeah.
There's a chart of the casualties and injured on the side of Palestine and the casualties on the side of Israel, and it's night and day. Like,
yeah, it's crazy for them to even be like, oh, we're getting bullied, they're attacking us. It's like,
so
what?
Yeah. So in order for me to care about all of that, I gotta see it be more balanced. When we get the balance, and now one side is.
Well, that's the thing, right? They try to call it a conflict. The conflict insinuates that there's a balance of power and people are sitting down at a table.
It's no different than men versus women.
This is an oppressive regime that has been levied up by the Western world, particularly America, since World War II. And they try to blame it on Hamas. Hamas just came around, 30 years ago? This oppression has been going on for 70 years. So before Hamas was even a thing, they were being oppressed and their lands were being taken. So that's just crazy. Someone did ask in the comments, like, what do the Arabs think about us? To me, that's a gaslight type of question, because whether they like us or not like us, that's also part of their conditioning under white supremacy and what they've been told to think about us. So I can't, that's like asking me, like,
I don't think that's a fair assessment. Wait. I don't think that's a fair assessment.
Wait. So that to me, that question is akin to when we say, like, we want to move back to Africa. They're like, well, Africans don't even like Black Americans. Well, that may be true, but that's also based on propaganda and things that they've been told. That's not an innate feeling they have for us. So I don't hold them accountable for their feelings under white oppression.
Wait, hold on, but I want you to know that quote unquote Arabs have been enslaving Africans before the white tea people even got onto the shores of Africa, right? We're going to keep that
800 years.
Keep it a buck, right? They did,
but it wasn't.
This is true, but they didn't have chattel slavery. Like, that's the thing too. We can't compare chattel slavery under Western
Oh,
white
I
supremacy
agree.
to like all the slavery that existed beforehand. There was
Oh, I
tribal
agree.
wars. There was all kind of stuff that was. I mean, slavery in
Wait,
any type of form is bad, right? But chattel
There's
slavery saying that
levels.
not only are you enslaved, but your offspring are enslaved because you are less than human. You are not even
wait,
like that's some
but
different
on
shit.
Because you look different.
but on the same token, right? Wait, as we break this down, right? Please understand, although there was not chattel slavery involved with the Arab people in Africa, right? They indeed pillaged, they indeed killed, they indeed enslaved, and just because, right, people did not adhere to said religion, they forced people to change religions. They forced them, right? They forced the Africans to change religions, and if they did not, they were enslaved. And although it was not shadow slavery, right, as in like picking cotton every day and working off the back of like free labor, as the United States was built on, it was still slavery, right? And it was traffic slavery is at that, right? It was
I'm
continued slavery for a
I
while.
agree with you. I agree with that, right? But again, I think we're a little disingenuous when we even try to compare the two things because again, we're talking about chattel slavery being systemic and global, right? It's now a system that affects the entire globe. What you're talking about is battles between countries and tribal villages. They didn't go around the globe creating a system that says that everyone that looks like these people now are less than human, right? That's like me and Brother Legend getting into a fight, and yes, he gets me, he puts me in his dungeon, right? Yeah, that's fucked up that he did that. But now if he goes and says, okay, now everybody that knows Gunner, I'm going to put all of them in a dungeon just because they know him and his offspring too. And I'm going to deny them food and everyone born after them for the next 400 years. And then I'm going to create laws around the world that make them less than, right? That's a very different construct than him just enslaving me because we got into a battle about some shit.
That's purely religious based. They want you to believe like they believe. They said you're cool as long as you believe what we believe. It didn't even have to do with race. Like it wasn't even included in the system. It had nothing to do with race. They said if you could be black as you want to be, as long as you believe our beliefs, you cool. You know, it's not like they're saying everybody that's black anything. You know, and so it's a totally different thing. And so I don't. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, what's the point of you bringing it up? Like this distinction. Like, are you trying to protect the Arabs, or are you trying to get us to hate on the Arabs or something? It's like what's the point of you saying, oh, well, the Arabs also had slaves, they enslaved the black people first? It's like, what's the point of bringing it up though? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I always say when people do that, it's disingenuous, right? On surface, it sounds like a aha, got you moment, but when you really peel back the layers, it's really kowtowing and trying to like appease some equality narrative amongst like global white supremacy and chattel slavery and everything that happened over millennia.
Like, are you trying to say that what white people did wasn't that bad, or that Arab people did something just as bad as what white people did? Like, finish that thought, because I don't like the conclusion you're trying to lead us to.
I'm gonna let you protect your neck, Casanova. If you want to say something, now's the time. You might be having phone issues though.
Let me see. Do I have
Cognitive
pause today? I
dissonance.
don't have no pause. I'll be nice on the pause today.
Casanova's usually
But
pretty on point. I think he's just poking holes.
I don't know, but it's ironic because his name is Casanova and his profile picture is that. But I'm but betting man, and I say put 5 on it that he's single.
Yeah, I just
Pop. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And then the last one, can black people be prejudiced toward white people? No, because prejudice requires that there's no preposition that you're basing your decisions off of, right? And we have historical context that makes us feel the way we feel. So it's not a prejudice. It's a survival technique at this point to feel the way we feel.
Yes, and Dr. Umar calls it intelligence.
Yeah, there you go.
Casanova, you gotta go. Come down and come back up. Come back up. It won't let me. It won't let me unmute your mic. Just come back up.
Can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, mainly about the whole like Israel-Palestine topic. I mean, like I keep scrolling, all you see is like, do you support Israel Palestine? I personally don't support either, but like I remember reading what was going on in Israel. I think it was like the beginning of the summer with like when they had that law of return, I don't know, in 19 something, the right to return, there was Ethiopian Jews that went into the land, and then like the next year they were only given like is it citizenship that you like you're a permanent like residence or versus status? I couldn't remember. They were given basically the one that I think it was status or something, but and then they got rid of that right to return, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna clear up, the issue and give you guys like permanent like residence or whatever here, and then they ended up just giving all the Ethiopian people in Israel like 60 days to like leave, and only to them, right? And it's like, first of all, they're probably the only ones in that out of all of them that actually have blood ties to being Israel, right? But so I do not think that, not that I don't think people should care about people dying, right? Because we all have like a moral compass or whatever, but in regards to like caring, like what can you do? Like no one really cared about, what happened to Black people. Surely Israel didn't care, like.
Oh, hey, and can I add? Because he was asking me like, where was I going with that, right? When we was talking about like
yes, reclaim your honor,
right? No. Look, stop.
I'm playing.
Look, I think right as we sit here and we have these discussions, right, and we love and we predicate, and like we understand where things started at, and like and the interactions amongst people. When we talk about like white supremacy, and we also talk about the way that Islam was delivered to the land of Africa, right? It was done in the same gist as Christianity was being delivered to the shores of Africa, right?
Correct.
Whether we want to admit it or not, they was both delivered by the sword and they subjugated people, right? So when we're talking about like Palestine, I saw somebody else pose the same exact question that I have, right? If Israel was occupying a part of Africa, right? Let's say like Egypt, right? Because it's on that top coastline closest to like the Middle East. Would the Palestinians advocate, for Africans? Would they even go as far as helping with like military, help or whatnot? And we know that they distance themselves away from Africans. We can see it in like our Somalian brothers and sisters, our Ethiopian brothers and sisters, how their Middle Eastern identity, they'll say we are not them, right? This isn't.
That would be short-sighted, though.
Right, but even so, right? We'll know. Do you know that like people of like the Islamic faith, they can't take on African names? Why is that? Why can't they take on African names? Let's say somebody
These
marries.
questions are
I don't know. It's
short-sighted.
just
No, because it's
you're
deep seated, right? It's
no.
deep seated.
I really try to follow where you're going, right? But the way my brain works is in analogies, right? And I get what you're saying. Like again, and this is where I think the brother's saying like it's short sighted, right? Is because to me what you're saying is the equivalent of like Haitians saying they're not Dominicans, right? Because they've been taught that they should be separate, but literally they're the same people. Like they're literally on the same island, just separated by a border. But due to global white supremacy, due to colonialization, due to imperialism, due to propaganda, they've been made to believe that one of them is less than these other group of people. And so now people when you look at a very narrow, short-sighted view of history, yes, they see themselves as different or better. But again, in trying to heal and liberate Black people, for those who want to that try to push the Pan-African agenda, we have to see beyond where we see ourselves for the last 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, even 100 years due to propaganda, and realize that it's going to take work for us to unlearn and undo all of that. So when you say that, when you say like they see themselves as different and all that, again, I think that's very short-sighted. It doesn't take into account that they've been indoctrinated to think that way.
But this was propagated before
Division doesn't help our
white
cause.
supremacy.
Unnecessary division doesn't help us, though. Divide and conquer works for white people.
Listen,
it doesn't help us to divide ourselves.
Before white supremacy hit the shores of Africa.
Hold on.
Right? Hold on. Because no.
Let me finish.
Because you guys. Wait,
for 1 second, just hold on. Let me give you an example. Okay, in Brazil, I think there's more than 5 different types of ethnic backgrounds based on European colonization of that country. Okay, that's what you're looking at worldwide, whether it's Brazil or the Philippines, where a lot of the citizenry have Spanish surnames. Okay, what we have to understand, I mean, these discussions are amazing, but Legend knows me. I'm just going to get down to the bottom line. What you really need to understand, I mean, you can talk about the Arabs and Europe. Dude, this is an anti-black globe right now. This is an anti-black country, and community is the most important thing in the world to black people right now. Okay? We've got to get past the toxicity that is basically overrunning the African American culture / society. We spend as a group of people, as a group of black people, we spend, what is it, Legend, like $2 trillion?
$3 trillion.
$3 trillion every single year, just in America. The 45 million, we could be our own country, right? So how does that community, what we need to do?
That buying power is anti-black, though.
We all know that.
Most of that's spent on essentials, and it's not disposable.
But it's spent, is what I'm saying. Okay, I mean, whether it's essentials,
it's used for bad purposes, though.
Because we don't have generational wealth, so we have to spend more to like live it like people.
Yes, so we can live like people. Thank you very much. So that's what I'm saying. We don't. The more. As we keep pulling straws in these conversations, like, okay, I've got this straw. Okay, I've got this straw. Our advantages dwindle. Okay, we don't have many as it is. And me, as a black man living in Baltimore, Maryland, can tell you all about those situations. Okay, so. Yeah, let's. If it's me, someone.
Baltimore dummy.
What's that?
You from Baltimore, dummy?
Who's saying that?
Me. I'm right beneath you. I live in Maryland too. You from Baltimore?
Yeah, Park Heights. Yep.
Yeah, wait, like you from out there type shit. Like you
live there. I live there, man. I grew up in Maryland.
Oh, for real? Like what part?
For
like
real,
you grew up in Baltimore your whole life?
I grew up between Baltimore and Anne Arundel County my whole life.
Oh, all right, yeah, more so Anne Arundel. Ain't gonna lie.
No.
Listen, I hear it in your voice. I hear it in your voice. Wait.
I hear it. Don't listen. Hold on, bro. Hold on. So you and I are gonna have a conversation. All right. Don't judge me. You don't know who I am. You don't know how I'm
Maryland, bro. Listen. Hit me up. I'm from Maryland. I know what Marylanders sound like.
Well, let me explain something to you. I was raised in the 60s, brother. I drank from those water fountains called Separate But Equal. I use those bathrooms called Separate But Equal because my dad was in the military and we lived all over the place. So we would go from base to base throughout the country in the 60s. And there are things that I've seen as a black man, okay, that you have never seen. Okay, so don't sit here and tell me, don't try to, don't do that to me, dude. Don't do that to me.
I was just asking you where you was from because I'm from the same area.
But you're laughing at me, bro. You're laughing at me.
My bad.
What's he laughing at?
No, look, we can get back on topic.
Black card into question based on the suburb of Baltimore he's from.
Hey man, Uncle's one of the elders. He's he been through this, enough.
I was just asking. Hey, I was just asking.
You're not funny, bro. You're not funny.
I'm not even trying to be funny, Brody.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I just asked you.
You're trying to tell me. Oh,
listen, I'm from Maryland, right? So if I hear somebody else get on,
this Negro talks like, dude, don't even go there with me, bro. I know what you're doing. It ain't even that
deep. Hold on. It ain't even that deep. If anybody come up on TikTok, right? Hold on. If anybody get on TikTok, right? And they'll start claiming like parts of Maryland. Hold on. Calm down.
I am calm. I'm just letting you know.
All right. Look, if somebody get on here, right, and they claim in Maryland, I'm from Maryland. You feel me? So that's right. Like, so if I hear you come from like where I'm from, and you like, oh, I'm from Baltimore. I'm like, oh, you don't even sound like it, right? That's what I'm saying. Oh, you was in Baltimore your whole life. That's all I was asking. And then you said Anne Arundel County. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
I lived in Anne Arundel County and Baltimore until I was 17. No, excuse me, like 19, 20.
I feel that.
I grew up here.
Because you don't got the Baltimore accent. That's all I was saying. That's all I was getting.
Okay. So don't. See, here's the thing, my man. This is what I'm talking about. This is what black people do to each other.
You don't got the
Baltimore you ain't black
accent.
enough. Or you don't sound like
you. You was black enough. You just don't sound like you're from Baltimore. We know what Baltimore people sound like.
I know what
just like we're talking about with Palestine, this divide and conquer is not helping us, and so trying to gatekeep about who's black and not. And
I didn't say you wasn't black. I didn't. Hey, look, this was never. Yeah,
I think you talking about region, not blackness.
Right. This has nothing to do with blackness.
You should have said nothing about his accent.
He's switching it now. He's switching it now. But when he first started bringing it up,
I asked him where was he from.
Bro, then I was like, no. We understand what you're doing.
All right, you know what? The comments even.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you, dude. I'm not mad at you. Just look. This is all I'm saying to you. I'm 64 years old. I grew up in this country. Okay, I was in the Marine Corps in the 80s in North Carolina. Where was it? Well, then what are you, dude? Get to know me first.
Look, all I asked you was you from Baltimore, Brody? That's all I asked you. That's it.
Yeah, but see, man, you came at me different, dude.
Like that, now it makes sense or something like that. It was more than
we're very too far off topic,
right? Way too.
Okay, I'm just saying. I'm sorry, Legend. I'll drop.
Nah, it wasn't even you. I feel like that just kind of got too deep for no reason. I was just asking where you're from. I don't even care. I really don't. Like, I didn't even mean for it to get that deep. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. My bad. Like, I didn't mean for it to get that deep.
So the same thing with Palestine. Like, even if there are some that buy into the anti-black narrative that's around the world, that still doesn't serve us for the people that are descendants of slave owners here in America to jump ship and ruin America, then go live in America Junior called Israel that does the exact same programs or treats their population the exact same way that they learn from America. And so if Israel keeps getting stronger, and it's going to be a place where they can go to, and that doesn't help our cause at all.
Did you know the largest
shifting money and weapons over there for them to still use over there?
Did you know that the largest African American population outside of the United States is in Israel?
Wow, I did not know that.
African American specifically, not black, but African American.
Wait, throw that fact at me one more time. Throw that one more time. That was a crazy one.
I said the largest African American population outside of the United States is in Israel.
Ooh.
African American, meaning they're from the States, but a lot of us go to Israel. More than Africa.
Are they mostly like Hebrew Israelite?
That is insane.
I don't know about that.
But brother, I
don't think there's enough Hebrew Israelites to be the largest population anywhere.
I think that statistic. I think that also counts the Joint Task Force that the United States sends over.
Also, when we say Hebrew Israelite, understand that there are African American Jewish people as well.
So I believe that. I believe that. Trust me, don't worry. My husband's Hebrew. He's one of them.
I think someone just asked about
is he a Hebrew Israelite or is he Jewish?
I believe he believes that the people of the Bible are a black people, and based on
believe is a funny word. Dr. Yosef Ben Yaakov says we don't use the word believe when we know something, right?
We know that we can look through history and facts that line up with scripture that can prove that.
All right, so he's a Hebrew Israelite. All right.
Yeah.
What's up, D?
I don't want Tori speaking. It feels like violence.
Did you hear what I asked you?
No, I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
I said, did you see that what Mayweather did?
That coonery? He did some coonery? Yeah,
Sean
For a
Connery.
paycheck, I'm assuming. I haven't heard.
he basically offered his jet for a private jet to fly any Israelis out or get Israelis to safety.
I mean,
Yep,
he sent
yep.
resources
That's
too.
getting
And
that
send
bag.
resources. I mean, but you got to understand, he makes his money through media. Media is ran by the Jewish empire, so especially in the United States. I mean, he
Uh,
literally makes millions of dollars off of
that's
fights.
slippery slope into believing.
they
That's
don't want
slippery
you to
slope into
believe it,
believing
so
right wing
that's why it's
myths.
a slippery slope. But as someone that lived in Hollywood and worked in the music industry for 10 years, I guarantee you, any boardroom meeting you go to is going to have a few of them.
Absolutely.
So,
And
No,
it,
no. So that's what I'm
I
saying.
mean,
Like there's some
even if it's
truth
not
to it,
100%
you
true,
know,
we
but it's
also
a
see the
slippery slope towards being excessive and exaggerating. That's what I'm saying. And
uh,
extra hate towards the entire community because a few individuals
I,
hold some wealth because they've been involved
That's
with
like
wealth and
saying
financing.
when people say black people play basketball that it's a stereotype and it's harmful. But it's like we do make up most basketball players. Most athletes in this country are black. But to walk up to a black man and assume he plays basketball, that's anti-black. That is harmful. But I
Yeah, I
wouldn't
got that all
assume
the
that
time.
about every Jewish person. But when I have been in those boardroom meetings and shook the hands of two billionaires in my lifetime, and they were both of the ethno-religious group.
I mean, and again, I don't know. I'm a black person who lives in reality, right? I love the theory and all and everything that sounds good. But in the reality of it is I can see how media, you can say something that's anti-black all the time. You're not necessarily canceled. The moment you even say free Palestine and you're a millionaire, next thing you know, you're called an anti-Semite and you're canceled. Right. So that's if they don't run the industry, they definitely have a lot of power and influence in it in some way, shape, or form. Because we've definitely seen people get canceled just for simply stating an opinion that was not anti-Semitic.
They're a very
Meanwhile, there's clips
protected.
like meanwhile there's clips of a protest that happened in New York. I think I posted on my page. They took a sound out where you literally have Jewish people saying to wipe out all Palestinians from all land to sea. Like, but I can guarantee the people that are there that are getting like it's yeah. Don't get me started.
I don't know how
So
many.
just like legend,
Yeah,
just like you say, with China being such a big power that it gives the Chinese citizens a little bit of protection, and how if Africa becomes a big power, that is going to give Africans abroad more protection just by association, like you're messing with our descendants or whatever. Um, that's the same thing I'm talking about as far as
they have protection because America does business with Israel. So
Yes.
that's why they're protected, and that's why our votes don't matter. But we can talk about that another time. I know a lot of brothers and sisters think it's so pro-black to vote, and I'm trying to tell y'all, until our homeland is free and we are in control of resources in Africa to the point where America has to negotiate with Africa, we're just voting for no reason. Like we're just supporting them until America says, you know what? If I don't do something for this black community, then they're going to raise the price of cobalt, and our electric car battery prices are going to go up. So I'm scared of that. So let me make sure I get them something. Like let me do something for them. Until then, we're just voting them into office, and they're saying, "Haha, you can't do nothing about it now. I'm in." Like so, that's just going to keep happening. Jewish people make up 2.4% of the U.S. population. That's about 7.5 million people. What Kanye West said about black people offended, I would say, most of 45 million people in the United States. He was not canceled. When he said something offensive towards that 2.4% of the population, 7.5 million people. That's about the size of I don't
that's
know,
less.
three boroughs in New York City. And when he said that he was canceled, it took a billionaire down. You understand? But 45 million of us didn't get nothing accomplished as far as his anti-blackness. We're not getting anything accomplished when we hold politicians accountable. But let Joe Biden say something crazy about them. You see? So that's all I gotta say.
I mean, let us talk about slavery and it's get over it, but every year it's remember the Holocaust.
Right, and this is what I'm saying, because America does business with them, so they have to treat them a certain way. It's like they're not trying to disrupt their military bases in the Middle East. They got things going on. They got trade deals and other stuff, so they're going to make sure that they're protected. With us, we tell Africa what we want, and they better give it to us, and we'll give them a little aid for the damage we did ourselves, and they'll just be grateful for that. We're sitting here on this live sometimes talking about how our priority as a group should just be freeing ourselves from racism. Like we don't have any goals, aspirations, or anything else we can do as a community beyond just getting these shackles off our feet. Like, come on, y'all. You know, like until we're in a place that America has to negotiate with us, voting is not helping. I'm telling you. That's me.
I do want to add, brother, you said they'll give aid and they'll be okay with that. They've never given us aid. We've always had to pay for it hand over fist. And it's not aid when you cause the need for what you're giving. That's called I cut you and here's a Band-Aid. I stabbed you and here's a Band-Aid.
Absolutely. I got some more people gonna come up. I'm having phone issues. It's trying to fall down. Anybody willing to drop so I can bring some more people up?
I'd love to say one more thing, and then I can drop if you like.
All right, go ahead.
I'm gonna drop because my signal's horrible.
Okay, thank you, D.
I've been thinking about the conversation that had taken place, specifically about can you be pro-Black with a non-Black spouse? And I have to say yes. But
you feel like you wouldn't exist if that were the case, right?
Oh, that's definitely one part of it.
Are we talking to another biracial? Great.
Yeah, they always say yes to this because they feel like
which is crazy because I'm biracial and I never say yes to that. But go ahead.
Well, I have my own reasons. So I'm viewing this from a lens of what I prioritize as greatest import. I am unabashedly pro-Black, but I don't believe that I have to be anti-Asian, anti-Latino, or anything else. I think
can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Do you have a Black parent?
I do. My mother.
Do you identify as Black?
I do.
Then your being pro-Black is not an antithesis to your parents not being able to be pro-Black because they're in an interracial relationship. You're not an interracial relationship. You're the product of one.
That's so stupid, bro. How can you say you can't be pro-Black? His parents can't be pro-Black.
Hold on. Let them talk. We'll get to you in a moment.
My apologies.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So my wife is Chinese. So in our experience, we've been together for 10 years. And everything that I've had to show her to have her understand better why I move certain ways, why my family interacts in enclaves, was completely foreign to her. It was literally, she had never experienced it. One, because her family's wealth just precluded her from having to know. She had to, unfortunately, experience a lot of discomfort being with me because, mixed or not, they saw Black first. So when I say you can be pro-Black, I'm speaking from the lens of myself, and I'll use your scenario for war. In the scenario for war, if I have to defend my tribe, I'm going to defend my family. The people that, one, my wife has birthed, my siblings, and the people who look like me, because I know that they're being attacked. I am going to put my people first when it comes to advocacy, when it comes to economic empowerment, when it comes to making sure that I'm building communities and removing barriers of opportunity. If I'm soliciting funds, if I'm starting a new company, I'm making sure that people who look like me are given the tools to succeed. I'm making sure that I build scaffolding.
Black family.
Great. Can I challenge this? Can I give you some
Please.
pushback and see what your thoughts are on that?
Please.
Right. So one of the things that you said is that you what it, I'm going to paraphrase it, right? But basically, you said your economic buildup is for people who look like you. But you just divided your economic buildup by races, right? So now you have Chinese, you have half Chinese, half black children, and let's say you become a millionaire, and then your Chinese children, your half Chinese, half black children who inherit your money, go and create children with other Chinese people, and they create children with other Chinese people. How did the $1 billion wealth that you generated stay within the black community?
Through the facilitation of my trust,
It didn't,
making sure
because the
that
foundation
all
It
of
of my
didn't. You gave
children
it to your
maintain
children. Your
independent
children
access
have
to
had
wealth.
babies with Chinese people, and their children have
Good
babies with
fucking
Chinese
point.
people. So now all that wealth was redistributed to the Chinese community.
I can't. I was gonna come in
Not
there and back
be.
you, but that's a great point.
So distributing the wealth and making sure that it stays within the economic structure that I've built up.
But
So
how would
then,
I
so
say
so
that's
then,
more
so
because
when
you
you
are
say
people,
that,
your
okay. So
husband's
now
good
the follow up
kids.
with that, then. So again, now you have your children. Your children are half black, half Chinese. Do you put in your
Mhm.
trust that says, "Hey, children, if you do not procreate with a black person, you do not inherit anything"? Because otherwise, again, if you give them money and they do not procreate with a black person, they are watering down blackness over time, and therefore your money is being siphoned out of black community through proxy of your now Chinese offspring.
All right. So the only meritorious way for me to construct the
can I just say
trust
this and then
is
I'm
for
gonna
the
drop
trust to
because my
maintain the
signal is horrible.
funds,
Can you hear me?
the
Let D
business to
talk.
Can I
maintain.
just say this real quick?
Hold on one time. You gotta let people
My
respond. Go ahead.
my signal is horrible. I just want to say this and I'm gonna drop. It is very interesting how you're ready to teach somebody your culture, to teach. If you are pro-black, one thing about being black is knowing that the foundation that you are building is with someone that already knows and understands how to thrive, survive, and prepare your children for something. Y'all have all the grace and space to teach other people outside of y'all race everything they need to understand, and they still will not fully understand what it is to be black. But you be ready to leave everything that you built generationally to a non-black woman so that she can run to her community and give it right back. That is the craziest thing. Kobe Bryant. Like, it's amazing how y'all don't see the bigger picture. The picture is so small in your head because you're just going off of the lust or the situation that you're in, and now you feel like I don't understand how people put their quote unquote children back on the black community and on the backs of the black community. You want black community to take care and look out for your children, but you don't even see the value in a black woman to procreate with them.
No, but the question to that,
Yeah, I
the
don't
question,
know, because you're missing a golden opportunity there
wait, let me ask you something. So
protect
does that mean
and
that
be a
black people
resource
have?
to a black woman.
Does that mean
They
black
don't
people
want
have
to
to
do
be
that.
political in everything? Even the person you love is political just because you're black. Like,
Remy, can you
Because
give us your age, race, and pronouns before you start? Go ahead.
me, my age, I'm 23. My
Age,
race, I'm black.
race,
I'm Somali. I'm from
pronouns.
England. From he, him, I guess. Like, but yeah, sorry. What I was gonna ask, so I think I don't know if she's still here. What I was gonna say to that is, in regards to him, can he not just love someone for the morals of what they hold, and if their morals support black community
So
and
who
they're
are you married
activists?
to? Who are you
Sorry. Can I?
marrying?
I'm not married.
What
My
race of
girlfriend's
woman
black.
are you marrying?
No, my girlfriend's black.
Your
Like
girlfriend's black, and you said
yeah,
you're
but
black,
wait,
right?
sorry.
You're a
Can I
black
finish,
Somali,
please?
right? So
Yeah,
why
let me
aren't you
finish,
choosing
please.
any other race outside of that?
Because the girl I happen to have a relationship in happens to be black. Like, you can't put black people in the position where
It doesn't
everything you do.
happen.
Sorry, let
Let
me
me tell
finish,
you,
please.
and that's why he's
Everything
just
I do,
black.
everything
Because
black
if you
people
are
do.
intentionally being black, if you're pro-black, it's with every intention that the foundation you're building is black. There's no
Nah, not
question
at
of
all.
something happening because you're intentional. You can be black and love being black, but stop putting the title pro-black on something because it conveniently fits in the
bingo.
market that you want to fit into. When you choose something outside yourself, that's you. But you still love being black. You're going to support black people. You're going to do whatever you.
Okay, but my question to you,
She got cut off.
yeah.
That's
What I
the
was
Go,
gonna,
point.
D. Come back.
But
yeah,
Remy,
no,
you
I'm
asked a
hearing you.
very
But what I'm
You
saying is,
you asked
prioritize
let
being
me
black. You
reply because I didn't get to
prioritize.
finish in it.
You did
I
not
didn't get to finish in it.
prioritize being black. You prioritize your penis.
I'm not disagreeing with you. My girlfriend's black. Like, I don't get what you're saying. I don't get why you're arguing me about this. My girlfriend's black. I'm just going from a different point of view of, do you have to politicize everything in regards to being black? Like,
It's
every
not
We're not
single
politics.
aspect
We're
politicizing.
of
Remy.
it.
Being
building a
black is
community.
political.
If you have someone
Politics,
We're just
politics is when you're
responding.
doing work with other communities. Within our community, it's not politics. It's just
But
building a community.
okay, so
Like
by that
Remy,
logic,
still.
to
you want
answer
no,
your
by
to
that
answer
logic,
your
you want
question
black
though,
people to
Remy,
have.
to answer your question, in a roundabout way, because I
I
agree
haven't
with
even finished my
I
point,
agree with
but
brother. Oh, I
I
thought
haven't
you
even
said
finished
we
my
have to
point.
be
But my
pro-black.
point
Go
is,
ahead.
if everyone who is non-black is not being is invalidated basically by saying everything you do has to be black. So do you want black people
No,
to
we're
live
not
their whole
saying
life
that,
No,
Remy.
you're not. That
expecting?
I think there's a little bit of a language barrier because you keep misrepresenting what pro-blackness is. We're not saying everybody has to be pro-black. We're just saying what pro-blackness is and what it ain't. That's it.
Okay. So, but the idea is
And you may or
everyone's
may
saying
not
you have to
qualify.
marry
That's all.
someone who's black to be
Right.
pro-black.
Not all black people are pro-black. That doesn't negate their blackness. It doesn't mean that they don't love their black bodies and their black children, their black family. But pro-black is intentionally being black with the intent of building black community and black generational wealth and black liberation, right? So that is a
I'm
when you
100.
take on the
I'm for
when
all
you
of that.
hold
I'm
on,
for
let me
all of that.
finish. When you take on the
But
title pro-black, you ask the question: does everything have to be political? When you take on the title pro-black, yes, you are intentionally saying this is my political alignment is to the uplift of black community, black first,
Okay,
and
but I
all
don't
of
think
its
you have to
right.
be.
intersectionality. But
I
every
feel like
black person
pro-black is
doesn't
very
have to be
specific.
pro-black. That doesn't mean that pro-black people don't dislike non-pro-black people. We still, because our pro-blackness still affords that we have to love them and still put them first. But that doesn't mean that we expect them to do that because they're not necessarily pro-black.
Right.
Okay,
And
to
if
to
it
answer
was
that, yeah.
getting politicized, we're not politicizing it. We're not in power,
No,
and we're
no,
not
but
pulling a black card. They're the ones that dealt us these hands and set this up. So
I'm
it's not
100.
like we're doing anything other than
Don't get it
responding
twisted.
accordingly.
I'm 100% for everything you're saying. But my point is, yeah, I feel like other people will be alienated because this argument is: what if someone who is pro-black, everything they do is pro-black, but the guy like who's below with the Chinese wife, he said that
They
everything
ain't
he
pro-black then.
Then they're not
That's it.
pro-black.
Your
how can they not be?
That's
foundation
So what is
over.
ain't,
he? So
if
if you're
your
not pro-black, what
foundation
are
ain't
you?
black, how are you pro-black?
So
That's
what
Black,
are
like
you? What
saying,
are
black,
you then?
what
What
if
are you
brother,
then?
what if
so
someone eats vegan and
you love
everything
who
they
you
eat
are.
is vegan,
Sorry,
but
brother.
in the morning, every morning they eat a slice of bacon?
Then they're
Are
not
they
vegan.
still a vegan?
No.
All
Okay,
right. So
but
if you don't live the lifestyle, you're not part of the life. That's it. This ain't for you.
But see, here's the thing, Remy, and this is what happens, and this is why these conversations are important, especially amongst black people, right? Because there's this connotation that if we say that someone's not pro-black, they feel slighted in a way. They feel that there's some dismissal of their blackness. We're in no way, shape, or form saying that if someone is not pro-black, right? For instance, again, my mother and father, white mother, YT mother, black father. My father is not pro-black. He created black children. He is a black man. He lives his life as a black person, and he has to go through all that comes with being black, both good, bad, and ugly,
so what
right?
more do
But
you
he
want
is
from him?
not
Is my point.
pro-black. It's not that I
But
want more from him. See, that's the thing. You're applying more to the language than what's there. I'm
it's,
not. I don't demand him. I don't say, "Hey, go unlove my mother," right? Because, and I've had this conversation with Legend. I love my mother. I worship the water she walks on. She is my mother. I came from her. I do not exist without her. But I recognize that for my life, and for my mate, and for where my money goes, and where my resources go, they go to B1, black first. Right? That doesn't mean I don't love my mother. It don't mean I just want to see every YT person unalive. It doesn't mean any of that. But that's the problem when we have these conversations. People jump to, if I say you're not pro-black, oh, you think I don't like black people? I never said that. None of us ever made that argument.
okay, I understand what you're saying. So
Amen, brother. Thank you for that.
if I can just speak without being interrupted respectfully, that was a great point as well. But what I'm saying is, yeah, what you said about your dad sounds like a great person, yeah. But my point is, let's say right now, yeah, you have someone who's a black person, they do everything possible to support black people. They support black causes, black everything, charities, help people develop communities, do everything. My point is all that work invalidated based off them having a white wife or a wife of a different culture.
Yes, it's not pro-black. They can be
Do you know
anti-racist.
what pro means? Do you know what pro means? It means for
Well,
black. They've done
Do you know
everything
what
for black
pro-black
So
people.
means?
you know
Because
you're
pro
trying to
doesn't
change the
always mean.
definition
Wait,
to
hold
include
on.
So,
people that it
so are
shouldn't
you
include.
guys treating pro-black as like a movement with specific targets? Because then
yes, it's a
pro-black can
political
kind of
movement.
alienate. How?
And literally, you literally asked,
If I'm
do they
giving
have
out
to make
awards for
everything?
perfect
Does
attendance
every
and you
decision have
don't
to
show
be
up for a day,
Sorry,
political?
I
you
can't
don't
hear
get
both
the
of you at the same
award.
time.
Doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Hold on, y'all
Right.
all talking over each other. We can't hear
But
you. Go
Remy,
ahead,
you
Kevin.
asked the question, does it have to be political? When you make the decision to take on being pro-black, every decision you make has to be political and for the liberation and uplift of black people. As Brother Legend said, when you take on the decision to be vegan, that means no more bacon. Like flat out, like there's no way around it. It's not, well, on Tuesdays I had a piece, so I'm still
Okay,
vegan-ish.
different
No, we're
question.
not saying
I
we're not
understand.
saying
I
you're out
understand.
here, you're unhealthy and see, that's the thing. If you ate the bacon, that doesn't, when we say you're not vegan, I'm not saying you're unhealthy.
No,
I'm
no,
not
no.
saying
I
you're
totally get
overweight.
you.
I'm not
That
saying you're
makes
fat.
sense.
I'm just saying you're not vegan.
Okay, to further my point, yeah, you have two people. One person has a white wife. Sorry, let me finish before everyone gets in. You have one person, he's a black person, white wife, all the criteria before. Supports all the charities, does all the work, does all the protest rally, does everything possible to support and further black causes. Another person, all he does is just marry a black wife. His wife is black, and he just does the basics. Who is more pro-black? Like, he does nothing to support the community. He just has a black wife. Who is more pro-black?
You see how slippery that was? You said who is more pro-black instead of who is
Oh,
pro-black and
okay,
who
apologies.
isn't
Who's
pro-black.
pro-black? The guy who does everything with a white wife, or the guy who does nothing and just he's not even marrying the black women as a anything. He's
Asked
just
and answered.
No. Here's a better scenario. There's a
No, they
man
answer that
who
respectfully. Answer that scenario.
Hold on, I got a better scenario.
No,
Because
but this
it's
is my
actually in
scenario.
reality. This is something like in reality, right?
Okay, go on.
So there is a man who did anthropology, but he did archaeological research, tested the skin of ancient mummies, and was able to trace their roots through archaeological hard evidence to West African people. You know who I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
And he's married to a white woman.
And he married a white woman, Sheikh Anta Diop, maybe one of the most prolific Afrocentric scholars to ever exist. He was what he contributed to our movement is it's immeasurable. It's priceless.
And you don't think
like
he's
but he married a white woman. Now, he was a scientist. The things that he discovered and the things that he was able to contribute to our knowledge of ourselves does not make him pro-black. He's a scientist. He did his job. But when it came to building within our community, he did not do his job. I wouldn't say Sheikh Anta Diop lived his life pro-black, but he was an anti-racist because he did work that dispelled the belief that Africans and black people have no history. His work can also be used within our movement, so we can't knock him, and we can't say he's not black. His children are probably black. I don't know about his children. I don't know if he had children or not, but that's one small example.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? Can only black people be pro-black?
Yes.
So our allies impossible.
Yes. Yeah. It's impossible for anyone non-black to be pro-black.
Well, can I ask one more clarifying question?
Respectfully. But yeah, go on, sorry.
Okay. So I've heard everything that's said, but the definition of how I was always taught pro-blackness is the stance of a professor at Morehouse, Desmond Douglas.
A white man?
Black man.
Nelson Mandela's son?
What? No.
I thought you said Nelson Mandela.
No, Desmond Douglas. He's a professor at Morehouse, a physician.
Okay.
Go Morehouse.
I'm a Morehouse graduate too, but go ahead.
Pauline, that's what I'm saying.
Awesome. Pro-black refers to the advocacy, the empowerment, rights, culture, history, and contributions of black or African descendants. It's supporting unabashedly the advancement of black individuals and communities in various aspects, economic, political, social, and societal. So by that metric is by which I gauge myself. So
you just said it.
Right.
How can you, and what did you say? Unabashedly?
Unabashedly. So
unabashedly, right. So
in the position that I'm in now,
unabashedly pro-black with a non-black spouse?
For sure. So my spouse and her connections have led to me being able to solicit over $274 million in funds from a group that wouldn't have even talked to me otherwise.
Okay. That's fair.
Year over year. Providing scholarships through GCAP.
But here's the thing. You can do things that benefit the black community and not be pro-black. If Bill Gates donated half of his money to an African country right now so that they could take control of their resources, would that make Bill Gates pro-black?
Okay.
Right. So what I'm asking, since I'm not Bill Gates,
it literally means
black.
pro for black. How can you do stuff for the black community, which for means pro and black? And you say it's not pro-black? Like, it doesn't make sense. Pro means for.
Can I say something? Well, two things. One, One
That
thing,
is literally the
as a
meaning.
Morehouse man myself, we have to be conscious of even our Morehouse training at a HBCU, understanding the history of HBCUs and who they were funded by and why they were funded. What were the first set of students that were allowed to go there? The illegitimate children of ex-slave owners, right? So there's a whole lot of history there that's not necessarily pro-black, because a lot of our institution is blackness or whiteness in blackface, right? The pomp and
Right.
circumstance, the way we disseminate degrees, and all of that is blackness or whiteness in blackface. That's one thing. The other thing that we have to really understand, what we have to do when we want to have these conversations in a very progressive way, is we have to also unlearn this binary language of the colonizer, right? Saying, like, I keep hearing this resolve to, oh, it's almost like saying I can't be labeled, since I'm not being labeled pro-black, I must be bad or be against blackness or be anti-black.
It's not against your
That's a
character.
very binary colonial construct to think that just because I'm saying you're not pro-black, that I'm saying you're less than black, that you don't contribute, you don't help, you don't do anything. None of that is true. What we're saying
Right.
is, when you make the political stance to say I am pro-black, there's these list of things that you do as a pro-black person. You cannot do those things and still be black. You just wouldn't be pro-black. You can be progressive. You can uplift black people. You can care about black people. You can do all the work. You can marry a Chinese woman and get $240 million a year and give scholarships to black students and do all of that. But by virtue of you not continuing a pure black bloodline for generations, you, by definition, at that point, have just opted out of being pro-black. Again, that does not negate the work that you're doing. You just don't get to hold that title. Us as educated people, there's a lot of people that are educated, but it's very different to say I'm a degreed person, right? A degreed person means that you set a certain criteria and you finish that criteria, and so now we give you a degree for that. If I say you're not degreed, I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm not saying you don't have knowledge on this subject. I'm not saying you're not well versed. You're not well researched. I'm just saying you're not degreed in this subject matter. There's a checklist criteria in order to be pro-black. People miss the mark all the time. That's okay. But I would argue, maybe brother Ledger could say this as well. Most black people miss the mark of being pro-black.
No, yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's because
Okay,
the name.
I want to make a comment about what it means to be pro-black and the confusion people have. It's one.
Could you give us your age, race, and pronouns before you start?
Say it again.
Your age, race, and pronouns.
Oh, I'm black. I'm African American. My ancestors were slaves. I got a law degree. I got a degree in criminology and criminal justice and African American studies. So I do take that a very serious issue about being pro-black. Okay, just because someone supports an issue does not mean that you're pro-black. So, like the guy commented, saying that when you marry someone, okay, so this is an issue about that. It's two things about procreation. Why is it that all these other races, they are adamant on trying to stick within their race, but when black people do it, they act like it's a problem? Why would we not want to have survival of our races, to have our genes to be able to pass on from generation to generation? So that's why I do not think that you can be pro-black and have a white spouse. I have white friends. When you are around a white person, don't you talk differently about your race? Don't you not want them to feel uncomfortable? Do you not say, oh, we are the best basketball players in the world, right? I'm not going to say there's a Larry Bird, right? But be realistic. Our genetics are differently. How could you be married to someone and brag about your race and be supportive to your race on the same levels when you're sitting in the room with other black people? And I don't care what black people say. When we're around each other, we tell the truth about who we are.
Let our hair down a little bit. I know what you mean.
I feel like the confusion is because the literal name pro-black. If anyone hears pro-black and they support black movements and they do everything to help black people, they would assume they are pro-black because it literally means for black. I think the name kind of needs to be expressed.
That's a logical fallacy. Do you know what a logical
Let me give him
fallacy
the
is?
Let me finish my point before
Remy, do you know what a logical fallacy is?
Hold on,
Do
y'all.
you know what a logical fallacy is?
Let me just finish the point.
Let me speak.
I was going to say, if it was clear.
Hold on. It's my live, Remy. Hold on.
Yeah.
All right. The definition for pro-black, according to Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, and I love to bring up this book, Amos Wilson, The Blueprint for Black Power. It's prioritizing your actions and values with what is in the best interest of building the Black community. Now I'll say it again, prioritizing, meaning priority number one, your actions and values, your beliefs, how you move and how you act, with what's in the best interest, not self-interest, but the best interest of the community, but not just the community, building or empowering the Black community. So how can you say you prioritize and do things in the best interest of the community and you're with someone? If you're married, you prioritize your spouse, do you not? So if there were ever a conflict of interest where you had to choose between prioritizing your non-Black spouse or the community, how could you move in our best interest? That's the question. That don't make any sense. You can't move in our best interest. Now, I can move in the best interest of the community, and I don't got to worry about my spouse. My spouse is a Black woman. So I can prioritize my community even through her because of how intentional we move. So it don't work when you got a non-Black spouse.
If a building was burning down and your non-Black parent-in-law was inside the building and somebody from the Black community that you're not related to was inside the building and you only got time to save one, are you saving the person that isn't related to you but they're part of the Black community, or are you saving your in-laws because they're related to you?
I'm saving the people
I'm
that
saving my
are
in-laws.
going to impact my life.
There we go.
That's a dumb question.
If you're Snow White Samantha, was a millionaire. She had a nice bank account, and y'all were living good, and y'all giving back to the Black community, all that. But what's pro-Black is Africa having their own resources, Africa having its own currency and institutions, to where the African dollar is now 55 times greater. And this is economics. If y'all want to look up bricks, you can. But the African dollar is now 55 times greater than the American dollar. That means Samantha just went broke. And you going to help do that? Or are you going to see Samantha go broke and then use your Black card, go to Africa, get some money, and give Samantha our wealth? Or are you going to let Samantha starve? See, that's when that being pro-Black means we cannot think about every community while we're building our community. And the problem is, at some point, it's going to affect those outside of our community. It's not going to be healthy for them. And we can't be thinking about that. Y'all can't do that, because that's what I'm saying. If somebody say he going to share, that's what I'm saying. They're going to have to share, because Samantha's bank account just went from $5 million to $5, and she going to be crying. And if you pro-Black, that means you helping us do that to her bank account. Now, what you going to do to help her?
Here's the other thing I want to add too, brother, because I think we do get into the picking your spouse and all that, and I think those are very great examples. The other thing too, when we talk about intention, we talk about what's best for Black community, right? I'm even thinking at the genetic level. When we procreate outside of our race, we water down Black genome, right? We know through science now that the strongest, most prolific genes come from Black mitochondrial DNA. So when you create offspring that do not come from Black and Black DNA, you are watering down the gene pool. You are increasing the genetic gene pool of the other people, right? So you just made Chinese people stronger by giving them more melanin and giving them our carbon base and doing all of that with your now Chinese or Black children, or even in myself, right? I'm as a Black man, my genetic gene pool is watered down. We can see that in light-skinned people who tend to age faster than our more melanated counterpart, but still lighter, less fast as our white counterpart, right? Our skin ages faster. That is a watering down of our genetic gene pool, because we are now a watered down version of Blackness, right? So even at that level, outside of capitalism, outside of all these esoteric systems, right? These things that we've created in society, at the fundamental level, genetically, when you go outside of Black race, you are doing a detriment to Black genome pool.
Okay, but
some of y'all gonna give y'all reparation money to a non-Black spouse, and then gonna turn around and call yourself pro-Black. But we ain't getting reparation money. But I'm just saying, some of y'all would do that.
I want to know. I think it's really a part of brainwashing. Why would you want to put another community or another race above your own? Why would you not support your race and your community before any other community? That it makes absolutely no sense. I want somebody to answer that question. What reason do I have to take all my dollars and put it into another community instead of my community where my children and family are?
That
I can
wasn't
answer
their
that question.
priority.
And
That's the
then
point.
even if we were to
Because I feel like
define
some
pro-blackness the
people,
way that they're saying, it becomes divisive because now black men can be pro-black and they don't need to help black women. And black women can separate themselves and they don't need black men in order to be pro-black. And now we just dividing up our whole movement. We dividing
And
up our
then
whole community.
if you marry somebody that's of another race, you're going to have divided loyalty. You cannot tell that person to only support you and your community. You got to support their community also, because that's not fair. When you have biracial children, you cannot raise that child to be really pro-black because they have to love and support their other DNA.
Well, I will say it's a really hard thing to do as a product of biraciality who considers who not considers who knows that I'm pro black. It was a learning journey. It was challenging, and it's still challenging even with my mother to have certain conversations, right? But I've had to have these conversations. I've told Brother Legend is like I've told my mama, hey, if a race war fall out, baby, you got about 2 seconds to choose a side because I already know where I'm going. I don't know
Most
what
of
to
them
tell
don't
you.
make it though. Most of them don't
But
make it. A
but
lot of them with the white tea mother like him don't make it.
oh yeah, absolutely. Like I go toe to toe with those kind of biracials on this app all the time. I mean, you typically right. I obviously don't have the stats for that, but if you have a black mother, because in our society, mothers pass down culture, so you're more likely if you're biracial to have a black mother to be more pro black than if you have a white mother, right? Because the white mother's going to pass down the culture that she knows or that she's more around. So it's a very hard thing to do. And, you know, as much as I love my own existence, I've had this conversation maybe months ago on Brother Legends. I don't encourage biracial children because as a biracial person who had to live through it, it's a very hard thing. Yeah, you two, as you, the black person, the white person, love each other and all of that. But how much do you love your potential offspring when you think about the trauma you're about to put them through, where they now have to unlearn and unpack and relearn and do all of that work that they didn't have to do if you just would have dated within your race, right? If white people just date another white person, I don't have to teach them about being biracial and how to do this kind of hair and identify. Same thing with black people. I don't have my mother and father wouldn't have to do this kowtow thing with me and my brother and my sister had we just been fully black children.
You're hitting on it.
I feel like a lot of mixed race people, even over here in the UK. But over here in the UK, I don't know what America's like. You have a Jamaican dad and you have a white mum. So all these mixed race kids over here, we call them mixed race. I don't know what biracial or whatever, so respectfully. But here, everyone's kind of confused. Like the mixed race people initially, because obviously the UK is a little bit different. There wasn't many black people up until recently anyway. They all identified as white or like being mixed race was the very popular thing here. And now like being African or being Nigerian or being Jamaican or whatever is popular, they changed their entire thing and everyone's trying to look darker and stuff here. So yeah, definitely like it is very tough for mixed race people, to be fair. And I understand why you wouldn't encourage biracial relationships. But at the same time, yeah, nah, I definitely hear.
Can I say something real quick? Because somebody brought up something that was a good point, and it was about the Asian person or whatever in the family. This is the way you know how people are raised and what it says about your parenting. I want y'all all told a black man to imagine who would he choose, his in-law or a stranger that's a black person. Ask that Asian woman if there was an elderly Asian person in that building or a black person that was a family member to his, who she would choose. And I can guarantee you on my last dollar, she's going to choose that older Asian person because they're taught to be loyal to their people. So it is very interesting, even in that, when someone said it, I said, sometimes you got to turn it around and pay attention to how other people are always going to put their community before your own. But it's a level of ignorance that a lot of black people carry, where we have been displaced so many times historically, and y'all have been broken down so low, and I'm talking about black men, and y'all will still be ready to run somewhere else and build up, where your community has continuously been torn down by the same people y'all ready to build up with.
Proximity, right? So, and that's the thing too when we talk about race, right? Is that, like, especially here in the United States context, and not saying it's beautiful for other races or other ethnicities, but there is a kind of almost permission by the United States, by the Western regime, for them to have their communities, right? And it's not necessarily frowned upon. Like every country, almost every major city you go to, you have Jewish neighborhoods, you have a Chinatown, you have this, you have that. But our neighborhoods, like, it's told that we must integrate, right? Think about why is that? Why did our desegregation movement get hijacked and turned into an integration movement, right? We have to think about that. We just wanted to legally be able to go where we wanted to go, right? That's not the same as saying now we want what you have because yours is better. And while you give us crumbs, you destroy and dismantle what we already have in order for us to get some of your crumbs over there. And that's what integration became. I don't even like the fact that we still teach desegregation anymore in schools. We should really teach it as what it has turned into is forced migration integration, right? It's great black flight into white neighborhoods because we've been told that proximity to them somehow makes us better than, right? We would rather be the least in their communities than be the best in our communities. And that's a problem in black community. Like if you go around HBCUs around this country, and I've toured a lot of them, right? If you look at 1940s, 50s, 60s, late 1800s, those were the most prolific black neighborhoods. You had everybody in those neighborhoods. As soon as Great Black Flight happened, now all the neighborhoods around HBCUs look like garbage, right? That was intentional. Now you have black schools that used to be enclaves in black communities sitting inside of what they would quote unquote call here ghettos or hoods. That was not by mistake. That was by design. And now we gentrify our own neighborhoods. Like, there's a lot of unpacking that we have to do. We are the only people that really fight to integrate. We fight to integrate. We cuss out other black people when they say, let's be B1 first. Let's build our own. No, we should be part of them, and we should not do this, and we should love all people. That's bogus bullshit, right? And to tell black people that we shouldn't be racially political, how, when blackness exists as like race exists as a political force. Race was not a thing until they made it a political thing. So when we identify as black, you are identifying with your politics by default, because race is a political movement spearheaded by white supremacy.
Okay, like I totally agree. I just don't think that we are in a position in history to be separated right now. We got to work together. You know, they go to the 75% of these households are raised by women. This not going to work. We're not going to survive. They say white people have these issues. They're going to die off soon. So are we. This country, they say, like, white people 2050, they're going to be outnumbered. It's not going to be outnumbered by black people. It's going to be Hispanic people, Asian people. It's going to be divided amongst us. So it got to be a point in time that we realize integration was the worst thing that could ever happen to us. It does not work. It's not best for us. And I think at this time, you know, we need to integrate, merge, family, church, religion, whatever is going on, because we at a state that we really need to work together. Period, point blank. And you got to be pro-black. We got to support businesses. We had all of these black communities, and from what I think, you know, the Oklahoma City issue, they went and bombed. They said they didn't even have one gun. They had like all them banks, movie, whatever they had, no gun shop. So we gotta be strategic. They are very strategic. Why are we not? What is our plan? What are our goals?
I want to propose a theory to something that you said, right? We keep hearing we have to always second guess any information that's given us by propaganda, white media, American media, right? White people and white media and Western media keeps telling us that white people are going to be outnumbered. And I think that they do that so that we sit here and in our glory, we let down our guards and say, hey, 30 more years, we're going to outnumber them. But if we pay attention to history, whiteness has always expanded because their numbers have always been dwindling. When they first started this country, you couldn't, like, Irish and Jews weren't even included in whiteness. But once black people and the enslaved started to outnumber them, they kept expanding the definition of what white included. They kept including other ethnicities. This is my fear with biraciality and the lightening of black skin, right? Because now they're going to try to include people who look like me in my siblings into some type of level of whiteness so that they can continue to expand their numbers, right? So that what they're telling us is we're going to be outnumbered. We're letting our guard down and thinking, okay, all we got to do is last 30 more years because 2050 will outnumber them. No, you won't, because what they're going to do is all these biracial babies that we're making with this B2 hair, right? They're going to tell, oh, this is a new form of whiteness, the same way they did the Jews. The Jews
And
were not white
sometimes
in the
we do
first
it, and it pissed me
and
off.
we do. Yeah, and
Sometimes we
this,
do it. We
this
like,
whole
oh, you're not
notion.
black because you biracial. I'll be like, nah, don't do that. Don't do
No,
that. It's happened
don't
in the
do that because
past.
you're
It
aiding
don't
and
benefit
abetting.
us.
You're
Because you're
aiding and
supporting the
abetting in their
hierarchy and saying
you're
that you're
aiding and
halfway.
abetting in their regime, and that's my fear, right? Because when I think about blackness, again, that's why I think about race as a political movement. You cannot look at it from a 2023 lens without looking over the past 400 years, without looking how it affected everybody globally. It's specifically around the laws and the way that whiteness has changed and developed over time. And so that's my thing. When we talk about you can have these babies, and I mean we already see the proximity to whiteness that pure non-blacks get, right? Chinese people aren't black, right? Certain other ethnicities that come here aren't black, but they're still given certain provisions. They're allowed to own businesses in black neighborhoods that black people aren't given loans for, right? So even that proximity makes them more of an ally to whiteness than it does to blackness. So we have to be very mindful when we start dividing out certain types of blackness, because there will become a day where they will paper bag test us again, right? And say, oh, you're lighter than this shade, you now are included in whiteness. And let's not act like they haven't done these stupid ass divisions before. They literally went to Rwanda and created Tutsis and Hutus out of people that they were like, your brother and sister, but y'all look different to me. So you're two different tribes. Literally,
Yup.
two black kids with the same parents were put in two different tribes based off some random nose measurement, right? So do not think for a second that they will not get rid of that one drop rule and start throwing your mixed babies along their whiteness because what that's going to do is those mixed people who've always felt in the middle and felt maybe ostracized by both or confused and stuff like that, they now, because of that proximity to whiteness, are going to be like, fine, I'm going to go over here because it's easy over here. Look at them, they're giving me a seat at that table, they're letting me
Look at the
in their
rewards I'm
club, even though
getting.
I'm at the bottom, even though I don't get the master bedroom, quote unquote. I hate to use that word master. Even though I don't get that bedroom, I still have a bedroom in the house, right? So we have to be very mindful when we start dividing up black community and doing all this biracial and interracial, and you're still pro-black and
Right.
all that, because it is very dangerous in the long game of whiteness.
Right. Amen. Amen. That
Thank
was
you,
one of
Gunnar.
my first rants that I went on in one of my earlier videos, man. That's very important. We have to see what happened with the Mulat in Haiti, the Assimilato in Angola, and the true Egyptians in Dr. Chancellor Williams' book, The Destruction of Black Civilization. Whenever we start, or whenever biracial people have excluded themselves from blackness, it has always come back to bite us, the black people, in the ass. It don't really work out well for us, and it don't do much better for them because they still don't get access. So it's just, why are you doing that?
Baby, a house nigga is still a house nigga.
Right? Exactly. Exactly.
He was also
Let,
talking about earlier with the couples getting together and how they think that love conquers all, and because they think they solve their racist problems and can scratch that itch and soothe each other and think that all the problems are, rose tinted glasses, that they ignore the rest of the world's problems and or don't want to deal with it and stuff because they feel like they trauma bonding or whatever. You can look inward instead of looking outward and not having to lift a finger of helping us progress more.
Mm-hmm. Lundaway, could
Hi
you
guys.
please? What's going on, sister? Could you give us your age, race, and pronouns for the live?
I'm 35. I am African, South African, and yeah, I'm a
Are you a
she.
black South
Her.
African?
Yes, black South African, she her.
All
Yes,
right.
I'm Zulu. Zulu.
Okay. Shout out to my Zulu
Yeah.
brothers and sisters. Go ahead,
Oh
sisters.
no,
Yeah, floor is
actually,
yours.
when I was requesting, I wanted to come in when the other brother was talking about that you can be pro-black while you are married to another race, and he was saying he's giving the money and all of that, building this and that. And what I wanted to say is that us as Africans, we need to understand that the world works on money, economy. So this guy, like one generation down the line, his money is out of his, like, race. Now his money is owned by another, race, whoever he chooses to marry from that side. And then us as Africans do not advance because of that, because we do not have a common cause where we're saying we are going to put our eggs on one basket or whatever and build our what you call community so that it can be strong, and in future we do not depend on other people to make decisions. But we always like worried about what other people think of us. No, they're gonna say we hate them. They've been hating on us for all the years. They have been like stopping their women from marrying to our cultures or to our communities for years. That's what racism was about. They kept it within themselves. They built within themselves. They came and stole your things and made sure it doesn't get back to you either by marriage or whatever. So if you think that you can end or build the world of the black community while you're still trying to please them or like what they think of you, it's never going to happen. They did that for years. The reason why they are so relaxed right now, I don't know. They might have another strategy. You don't know, because we do not think ahead, far ahead for ourselves to say what are we planning for the future, how do we build towards that. They might be relaxing their things now, saying you can go biracial and whatnot, because they are siphoning your wealth out of you. Most of the time the people that they marry to into the black community is the people who have money. They don't go to poor families, and guess what, that money is out within like 1 or 2 generations of that person. So,
Yeah.
like, we need to think really ahead for ourselves. How do we build a base? How do we become stronger for the future, not for now? Because trust me,
Hmm.
they always strategizing on something. They always a step ahead, and all we do is just to think for now and how the other person thinks of me or sees me. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
what I
in.
want to.
You make a
I just
good point, sister.
I
You
wanted
just
to say
made.
that's
Oh,
in
go ahead.
the book that I mentioned earlier, Amos Wilson's The Blueprint for Black Power. He talks about how, because of how we've been treated or mistreated, rather, we have we're always thinking in survival mode. People that think in survival mode only think short term, and sometimes we don't think long term enough. Similar to what I was saying about voting. Voting is a short term answer to how we're being treated right now, but long term, voting is not going to help us. Voting now is not going to help us. But yeah,
Yes,
no, she's right. It might help you though.
because
It might help you though in South Africa. The EFF looks really interesting.
yeah, it does help us, but what I wanted to say, even here, like when you get a person in power, most of those people are put by someone there. It's not them ruling you. It's certain, individual at the back who have the wealth and the money who are pushing those people. For us as black people to have people who are for us, we need to have our own black wealth, own black people pushing candidates towards the front. For now, even the black person who gets at the front is not going to do much for you, because they are backed by somebody else at the end. They make decisions based on what that person is pushing, their agenda is. So we do need like black world so that we can push our own people even in politics.
What do you
So
think
Yeah.
about Julius Malema?
What we need is
in South
revolution,
Africa,
right?
South
Go ahead. Sorry.
Africa right now, I can tell you one thing. We have the same issue that you guys have. Most of these people, we have two families that are rich in South Africa, and most of these politicians are backed, funded by those families, and those families are white. That's why most of the wealth in South Africa sits with the white minority, because
No,
they're
but
making sure that they're making the horses that are going to make it easy for them to continue and siphon the money out. So it's so hard to tell who's going to do exactly what we need, because we do not have people backed by black people.
Mm,
That's why you had to crowdfund and group together and pool your money together. If not, you don't have enough rich individuals, then you need to do it collectively. But no, you're exactly
Yes.
right. We need to have a platform where we can vet each other and put forth our best candidates. And it's not just voting, but yes, voting is one element. Don't just stick to voting. There's multiple different things we can do. But yeah, we need to be present in the voting sphere as well. And Africa or South Africa or Julius Malema, everybody around the world can do their part, and America can do our part, and us as Black Americans can do our part as far as making it so when Africa does its part, America can be a partner. Or if we do take the White House or whatever and stuff, or get somebody in that is amenable to our side and our issues and stuff like that, it's not impossible. It just hasn't happened yet. It's a process. Hmm. Revolutions don't have to be violent though. Like you just give people a better alternative, and it'll naturally shift to that. Like revolutionary was what South Africa did in voting into redistributing their land back to the indigenous people and the people that deserve it, rather than the colonized settlers. And we can have revolution. It's just that most of the stuff that happens here is not a democracy. It's what the wealthy elite want, and they are making decisions. And even if 80% of the country wants something to get done, they can still
But it
block it
also
from happening.
But that
And
also
when it
depends on how
does
you
happen without
define
them, that's
violence, though, because I
revolutionary.
believe revolutions are violent, right? So in reappropriating land to people whose land is being or the people the land that they thought they owned is being reappropriated from, I think that they would think that that's violence, right? Yeah, to your point, it doesn't necessarily have to be grape and pillaging, but there is going to be some form of violence that has to happen. You cannot appease on oppressor, because to an oppressor, loss of power feels like oppression, even in terms of moving toward equality. There's no way and this is my opinion, but there's no way under the American regime that we're going to be able to undo what the concept of America is, right? It is the intent of this was to have a resource money white led outpost from Europe where they could build resources, because when they went to the rest of the globe and started traveling, they saw that black people owned all the resources and all the land and all that. They wanted a spot like that for themselves. That's what this became in the Western world. There's no way that the master is going to say, hey, but you can overturn me by using my voting process, because that's
Right.
the good way to do it. Like, that's just
But that's what I'm
crazy
saying is
to
like
me.
it is a process, and so you're not going to do it in one vote. No, but what you do is you lay the groundwork, so it is easier to take control back. So it is easier to have a full, true democracy. So it is easier to take a strike and make it so you have protections as a minority, whether it's
So,
the white people being a minority within the next couple decades, or
so
current minorities or whatever and stuff. Make sure there's certain protections as far
So
as
let
safety
let me
nets and
ask you this, right?
healthcare.
So most of us know some workings of the way the Constitution works, and to ratify an amendment. Do you like ratifying an amendment when the country was primarily white and white ran before a lot of other non-white people had voices was a lot easier. When you look in the past, not that it was easy, but it was a lot easier to ratify and create new amendments. Do you think that in 2023 we're going to be able to vote our way out of prison industrial complex, which is legally written into the 13th Amendment? When we just had, like, the state of Alabama just declare that slavery was illegal like a few years ago. Like, that's
If
what I'm
things are
saying. When
done
we talk
right,
about,
yes.
I'm sorry,
If things are done right, then yes. The point of the
what is
president
done
isn't to
right?
do
Like,
Gonna,
anything by himself or
gonna,
herself. It's
you.
to
This
put a
is
spotlight.
me and this is me and populist thing. I'm like Malcolm. He's like Martin. So we're gonna have this.
No,
Is a
but we could do the same. Malcolm and Martin should have worked together more, and they probably were doing stuff behind the
they
scenes and
couldn't
stuff,
work together
talking
because
about like,
Malcolm was
okay,
trying
yeah,
to get everybody to
you
vote.
show them how
But
bad it
hold
That
can
on,
get
hold
in
on.
order for me to be more popular.
No, what you are telling me to do is what we tell little black kids every February, to offer up their body to pillaging in the hopes that we will appease to the masses of people who have raped and pillaged us for 500 years. So they will wake up one day and say, we have been bad people. Let's be equitable. This is the thing. And I'm gonna go ahead and hop up here, brother, legend. This is the thing I've always said. I always tell this to my friends when they talk about YT people and progressives and liberals and changing the world and all that. When you start having those conversations and you find people that are like, "Ooh, that's the process, and let's be right and let's do this," ask them how okay are they with the redistribution of wealth in this country based on the people who have done the work, meaning practically all dollars in YT community would be siphoned out and given to black and brown people, because black and brown people have done all the work to create this country. No matter how progressive that YT person is or even that black person, they will stop you in your tracks and say, wait, that's not fair. If that's what you're saying, that's why I
I
say
agree.
voting. This is why I say only a revolution by violence is going to happen, because if they're not willing to do that and be fair in that way, then I don't see them as a fair and just person, because that would be the truly fair and just
But
thing
the
to do.
reason why
But they're
South
not
Africa
willing
was
to
a
do that.
peaceful transfer of power was because the powers that be and the channels of power okayed it, whether it's the state senators or
Yeah,
whether it's the
but
leaders
if you
and
ask
political
Africans,
leaders
if you ask Black South Africans, do they really feel completely liberated? They would tell you no, right? So even what we consider to be progress, it is not the progress that it should have been, which is a African led, ran, orchestrated, backed, militarized, resource protected country. Non-black people still dominate and run a lot of South Africa. So even your quote unquote progress is not progress. It is a carrot dangle to black people. And that's all we're ever going to get until we overthrow racist YT Western regimes. That is absolutely the facts. We're not going to get
but
anything
doing
out
it
of
your
their
way
progress.
right now with the way things.
Populous. I gotta end the live,
I'm
man.
sorry,
I
go ahead.
appreciate y'all. Thank you, Gunner, for those talking points, Populous. Thank you for standing your ground as you always do. We're gonna do a voting live, man. Gunner, if you could come back, I'm gonna DM you, man. And
Yeah, DM and let me know when it is. And I got
okay,
you,
because
brother.
we're gonna do a voting one. I don't wanna let no powder paper plates up here when we doing that one. You know what I'm saying? I want to keep that in between the brothers that know what they talking about.
Got you. No problem. I
Okay, I
got you. Just
want to
DM me,
say
bro.
real fast that in terms of the black community, we're not in a position to overthrow anything. There's literacy rates. You know, down south is only like 40% of people are illiterate.
That's what I'm saying. They're so anxious to
Yeah,
get to
it's
the
not an
violent part. I'm
education
saying you got
issue.
to have the groundwork before you do anything. These people will starve to death
I mean,
before
yeah.
anything
I'm sorry.
possible
Listen.
happens.
I know
Listen,
you
we
want to
got
end the live, brother legend, but can I say something? See, this is the other thing too. When we use YT measures to measure black intelligence, our great grandparents were not literate, right? But we're still here because they were still intelligent, they were still smart, they were still survivors, they still knew what to do. We
Okay,
cannot
but
use
I look at
YT
different than having
measures
a
of
law
literacy.
degree to argue for your rights. You have to understand your rights and articulate it. That's why black people are in jail. I had criminal charges against me. I represent myself. I don't have a felony record. I was charged with felonies. So you can say that, but still, when you still operate in a system, you have to know that system. A lot of people don't like me because I beat their system. So assimilation does work to a certain point. I went to white schools, but you know, so yeah, so you talking about a different time frame. We're
But
Assimilation
I
ain't
agree
no
with
still
you. It
school.
works
now.
to a certain point, but
And
the
it's a
point that it works
process.
to
You're
is
not going to
never
make this happen.
liberation. The point that it works to is
Yo,
never
we
a
gonna talk
liberation.
about this. We
All
gonna
right, bro.
talk about this.
All right,
I gotta
DM me,
go.
brother
I gotta
legend. I
go to
got you.
sleep. I appreciate y'all. Don't hate. Thank you for coming up, sister. And I'll be back up tomorrow night. Everybody else, thank you for the gifts. I really appreciate that, Stella. I'm gonna be back up tomorrow night. We're gonna have another productive conversation. Please hit the notification bell on my profile to be notified. I come on at random times, so it could be 7, it could be 8 o'clock. I don't really know. But and then what else? Oh yeah, the recording of tonight's live will be on my YouTube. So on my profile, there's a YouTube button. Check out my YouTube, subscribe there, and even if you miss a live, you'll get to see it. Maybe listen to it while you're at work, whatever. We be having some good conversations. All right, y'all, I'm out. One love, peace.